After that, I will be inviting our speaker. I'll be introducing our eminent speaker for today, and then we'll be starting with the session. So just bear with me for half a minute.
Archana, Dr. Lele sir has joined.
Oh wow! I'll just invite him. Dr. Bhandekar, can you please invite Lele sir to please speak?
Archana, please, you on the.
Yes, I'll do that. Just give me a minute. I'm coming back. I have already gone live on Zoom. Okay, and I start. Okay, so let me just unmute Lele sir. Oh, that is an honor. So we have with us Honorary Secretary General of IMA, National Headquarter, Dr. Jayesh Lele sir. And sir, it's an honor to have you here. I can see even Dr. Ravindra Kutte sir, who is President-elect of IMA Maharashtra State. So warm welcome to you, Lele sir. Would you please like to say a few words, sir?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Archana. And of course, Dr. Harish Shetty, our IMA Mumbai West member, we are so proud of you. Was listening to him on the TV, radios, and various print media. So I thought today I am there in the head office, and I thought that this is a very important session. Teen talk for the children. Rather, I would say that everybody has got some stress here and there. And there's a right person to talk to and communicate to you. Dr. Harish Shetty, I am really thankful. And Dr. Archana, you are doing fantastic job.
Thank you, sir.
Whenever possible, I just peep in some time or the other. And today, there are some meetings in the afternoon. I was whole day yesterday there, and my flight is delayed. So I will be whole day in the head office. So I thought that let me join for some time, and really thankful for inviting me and giving me the opportunity. Over to you, Archana, for thank you giving me calling me to address. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, because the encouragement that you people are giving us to hold these sessions, we really are happy to reach out to the adolescent and the youth of today and guide them, because we feel that internet and Google and the social media are not the right place for them to find information. So this is our small endeavor to give them the right thing through the right channels. For 2 minutes, I am inviting Dr. Ravindra Kutte sir. He is President-elect IMA Maharashtra State. So would you please like to say a few words so that we can start with the session? Sir, you are able to unmute yourself.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. Archana Pate, madam, Dr. Jyoti Chitgupkar, madam, Dr. Jayesh Lele, sir, Dr. Harish Shetty, and the whole team of MPH. I congratulate the team for arranging fantastic activities for last few days. And Teen Talk series is really excellent. I wish my wishes to today's series also. And thank you very much. Good day.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. So with this, it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. I'll be just sharing screen. Bear with me for a second. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes. So it is my pleasure, as always, to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Harish Shetty, sir. He has been guiding youth for a very, very, very long time, and it is his passion to guide the youth in all these important topics. So he doesn't need any introduction, but still, as a formality, I will be introducing him formally. He is a renowned psychiatrist and mental health expert. He's visiting consultant psychiatrist, LH Hiranandani Hospital, Mumbai. He has immense experience in school mental health. He has conducted multiple workshops for students, teachers, heads of educational institutes. His petition in Bombay High Court in 2015 on learning disabilities has facilitated the starting of LD Detection Center in every district in Maharashtra. He is founder of Maitri, an organization which works with families affected by mental health. He is appointed member of NTA, National Testing Agency, by Union Cabinet on behalf of Human Resource Development Ministry. It's a pleasure to have you over here, sir, and over to you for please carrying forward with the session.
Well, thank you. IMA Maharashtra has been revolutionary. with respect to mental health. I would say that it is doing much more work than the Indian Psychiatric Society, Maharashtra on mental health. So happy to be with Suhas Pingle, my very old friend. We all go and have a meal together, and it's long overdue, Suhas, and we should do it again. Ravindraji, Jyoti, and Dr. Pate, thank you for encouraging me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to improve my mental health. Talking to students improves my mental health, and that is so, so important. Archana Bandekar, thank you, and Mangesh Rao, thank you. So, my dear students, मेरे प्यारे मित्रों, शेर जग गया है. हाँ, बंद शेर जग गया है. The tiger is alive. 10th and 12th standard boys and girls, the tiger is alive. You have been locked by the RNA virus for such a long time. You have been locked from your joys, from your quarrels, from your fights, from your parties, and from your love for 2 long years. And now you're back to life. You're back to being with your friends, being with the examination hall, being with the difficult questions, and being with all your emotions. My dear children, as Archana ji said, eustress is important. That's why in the month of June, we do not absorb anything, but in the month of January, everything comes into the brain, and the speed at which the words travel from the book to the brain is so fast. Arey bhai, you guys suddenly have grown up from 8th to the 10th. Suddenly from 10th to the 12th without meeting each other. And isn't that beautiful? Or isn't that very painful? And that is something we need to look at. When the tiger is awake, जब शेर जग गया है, तो 3 बातें होती है, 3 गोष्ठी होता है. When the tiger is awake, 3 things happen. One is, my God, यार, अभी और थोड़ा दिन घर पे बैठते, ऑनलाइन एग्जाम देने में इतना मजा है. और ऐसे लगता था कि allow me to be inside. The second feeling one gets is, जोर से भागूं, I run out at a speed which makes me feel free and liberated. I don't go to my friends in the neighborhood, but I want to go straight to Maldives, Mauritius, Mathiran, or Mahabaleshwar. And the third feeling is, I will go out slowly, say hi-fi to my friends. मेरे मित्रों को हाई फाई करूंगा, दांशी गप्पा मारणार, चांगलं बोलणार. I will talk to them, and slowly I will increase my joys and get back to my mood. But I see 3 things among students. 3 बातें मुझे दिखती है. ये RNA virus का कांड के बाद, after the RNA virus, I see 3 things. One is, many of us are very tense. Anxiety and fear is there. आता क्या होना, अभी क्या होगा, मैं लिख सकूंगा क्या. बहुत दिन हुआ लिखा नहीं, ऑनलाइन काम करता था. बहुत दिन हुआ सुपरवाइजर के सामने बैठा नहीं. It's a long time that I have not been writing with my fingers. It's a long time that I have not stood or sat in front of the supervisors to write an exam. It's a long time I have not seen my lovely teachers and my school principal and my friends. So there's anxiety. There is fear. अरे यार, काय का गदर. याद रखना, 10th standard is not a milestone. It's a stone with many miles to go. दगड आहे रे, रस्त्यावरचं दगड. 22 किलोमीटर रत्नागिरी, 23 किलोमीटर मुंबई. It's not a milestone at all. And it's a stone with many miles to go. अरे सुहास पिंगले, अर्चना पाटे डॉक्टर ने जब मंगेश पाटे के उंगली में एंगेजमेंट रिंग डाला, मंगेश जी ने ये नहीं कहा, अरे अगोदर तुझा 10वीचा मार्क्स दाखव. When Archana slipped the ring into the finger of Mangesh Pate, her husband, Mangesh did not ask her, show me your 10th standard marks. Nobody asked here. But the point is, you have to try your best. And in the 12th standard, you may be wanting to give so many entrance exams. And JEE, anxiety is there. It's there. It's also because of the COVID epidemic. It's not only because of the exams. A lot of things happen inside our families. Many of our parents got admitted. Some of us Our parents have lost their jobs. Nokri sutli. Kahi lokanchi. And some of our parents or our friends or acquaintances have lost their lives. So a lot of things have happened. And here we are appearing for a 12th. So anxiety is one. Second is fatigue. Oh, 6 तास online. आणि त्यानंतर 6 तास tuition. My God, 6 hours of online class in school and 6 hours of tuitions. 6 hours of online class and hours of JEE and NEET preparation. My God, exhaustion is also a second most important symptom I see among children who are appearing for the 10th and the 12th. And the third most important thing is, let me tell you, my dear friends, you feel scared of the future, uncertainty of the future. So how do we start? Tiger always remains a tiger. Though he may have become sloppy because he was caged, the journey between the cage and the classroom should not be too long. And what do? Tiger is coming out. And let me tell you, my dear friends, 10th exam is the easiest exam of your life. The 9th standard exam in your school is tougher because abhi bhi schools ko lagta hai ki darao to wo inspire ho jayenge, darao. Tough exam do. Lal pen ko bahut zyada use karo. Schools yet feel that in the 9th standard, you have to make it very tough. But now 9th standard has been online, so there's nothing like tough. Or 10th standard prelims, make it tough. Fail children in so many subjects. Aisa nahi hota yaar. 10th exam is easier than the 9th standard exams and easier than the 10th standard prelims. That's the truth. सच्ची बोलता हूँ. ICSE में तो फोटो दिखाते हैं, ये माउंटबेटन लगता है क्या, ये महात्मा गांधी जी का लगता है, इतना चॉइसेस यार. और मैथ्स में सम लिखे तो 1 मार्क मिलता है, एक स्टेप आगे गया तो और 1 मार्क मिलता है. It's the easiest exam of your life. And let me tell you, my dear friends, 10th standard exam is not the ability tracking exam at all. It's a promotional exam. 10th standard state board is rote and ICSE is sophisticated rote. मतबल ऐसा है कि रट्टा मारना ये 10th standard का है, इससे कोई तालीम की तपास नहीं होता है. त्याचं कळत नाही आपल्या मुलामध्ये किती तालीम आहे हे लक्षात घ्यायचं. लक्षात घ्या. म्हणजे त्याचा अर्थ असा नाही की आता अभ्यास नाही करायचं. That does not mean that you should not actually study. You should study because your self-esteem should not drop. You should study because you have to be honest to yourself. You should only study and make an effort because you need to actually be true to yourself. And 10th standard exam is a practice match before the test match. The nets are there. It's an exam wherein you're trained to sit for some time in the examination hall, prepare, be alert, concentrate, and then write the exam. And that's a practice match. 12th standard also is a higher practice match. So my dear friends, याद रखना कि सूरज उग गया है, अंधेरा चला गया है. Or one most important thing I would like to share with you guys is the temperature of the house is more important than the temperature outside the house. Oh, I'm not talking about your air conditions. I'm not talking about your fan. I'm not talking about the windows where there is breeze. नहीं. मैं कहता हूँ अपने माता पिता का डोचका का temperature. I'm talking about the mother and the father and the temperature they emanate. ऐसा है ना. पढ़ाई पानी जैसा है, उड़ जाता है यार. गर्म हुआ ना उड़ जाता है. So my dear friends and the parents who are listening to this show, maintain the temperature of the house so that the studies are stored, so that they can be vomited during the examination hall. Do not make the temperature very cold so that it gets frozen, and do not make it so hot that it gets evaporated. And so what should you do? I understand, my dear parents, नौकरी गई है, salary कट हुआ है, काफी तकलीफें हैं, काफी तकलीफें हैं. और झगड़ा भी है, आपस में बहुत सारे झगड़े हैं यार. तेरी सासू ने जून 18, 2012 को मेरे सामने इतना खराब बोला. I mean, you have so many resentments of the past, but 10th and 12th ceasefire, COVID, we had ceasefire. Stop all the wars. and understand that you need to maintain the temperature of the family so that the studies do not evaporate. And when you do that, actually, remember, parents also want you to do something. Apna mobile pe se haath hatao. I have got 18 mobiles in my drawer in the clinic. Children have given to me. You keep it, sir. We'll take it after the exams. Every year it happens. You keep it, sir. We'll take it after exam. One of the most important enemies of education is your addiction to the cell phone. Is your addiction to the fact that you actually sit late at night with the phone, watching web series, etc. And remember, my dear friends, if you play around your sleep, your brain will not cooperate at the time of exam. It will go on strike. पलटवार करेगा भेजा. आप नींद से खिलवाड़ करोगे, झोपलं नाही ना, मग एक्झाम्स ऐन वेळी तुम्हाला काही आठवणार नाही. You will not remember anything at the time of exam. So one thing I would say, ये मेरा आज्ञा है, not a request. It's an order from Dr. Hari Shetty. It's an honest instruction from Dr. Hari Shetty. Boss, अपने फोनवा को अपने माँ के हवाले कर दो यार. Take it for 2 hours to talk to your friends. Understand if you want to do some online classes, no issues at all. But hand over the phone. Sometimes you'll say 5 minutes. 5 minutes becomes 1 hour automatically, because telephone communication is much more powerful than human communication. They innovate much faster than the human race. So phonwa ko alag kar do. Do not keep the phones with you. And remember, do not keep the phones under your blanket and sleep late. 3 things happen. 1, energy goes down when you are in front of the phone. 2, brain gets tired. 3, memory you lose. So you do not remember what happens. And my dear parents, remember, fathers cannot be Gabbar and mothers cannot be Mahakali. Fathers need to be Shant and Sheetal. And mothers need to be Saraswati. कुछ भी करो यार, कुछ भी करो. और वो माँ बाप जो बच्चों के सामने कैमरा लेके बैठते हैं या टेलीस्कोप लेके बैठते हैं, उन बच्चों की तो वाट लग जाती है. And those parents who keep a microscope under in front of the children or a telescope or a camera, they destroy the children's lives. So my dear mothers, new films are coming. Watch it. Do not take excessive leave from the office to be with the child. No need. Trust your child completely, but keep your eyes open. And with that, see to it that you also meet your friends, go for a walk, do your yoga, do your gardening, so that you're able to handle the children much better. Anger and explosions in the family destroys the confidence of the child. And sentences like, if you do not study, you will become this. If you do not study, you will become that. Not at all, my dear friends. Not at all. Not at all. Remember, feeling phrases are better than adjectives and sarcastic phrases. Feeling would mean, I'm very angry that you wasted your time. I wish that you really do your work. And remember, at home, when you talk to your children, जब बच्चों से बात करते हो, जेव्हा आपण बोलतात आपल्या मुलाशी, तर 50% अभ्यासाबद्दल बोललं पाहिजे आणि 50% आलतू फालतू गोष्टी. म्हणजे 50% you should be talking about studies and 50% you should be talking about shop talk. And shop talk could be anything. Just could be anything. Absolutely could be anything. It could be about hijab, kitab. It could be about anything. It could be about Indo-China, Ukraine, Russia. It could be about food. It could be about football. It could be about Mr. Rohit Sharma being made captain for all 3 formats. So चेहरे का आकार बदलो. Parents, when you get up, when you brush your teeth, look at your face. Keep smiling and see that feeling phrases should be addressed and not visheshan, nor tana, not adjectives, nor sarcasm, which means do not rubbish your child. And sometimes we believe, डराओ तो वो अच्छा होगा, नहीं होगा, टूट जाएगा यार, ऐसे मत करना. What is studies? Book to the brain, anti-gravity exercise. पुस्तकातून शब्द वर येऊन डोचक्यात बसलं पाहिजे. The word should rise from the book, and sit in the brain. And then in the exam, brain to the pen. And that journey has to be very good. That is exams. Book to the brain to the pen. So what do? Sometimes some kids say that to me in a very funny manner, that they sleep and study so that the gravity helps the words to fall on the brain, and they are able to learn. And that time, what happens? Vichar, Omka, Dhamaka. If I finish my 12th, will I get good marks in the entrance exams? If I finish my 10th, will I get admission in a branded college? My dear parents, remember one thing: college is not the brand. You are the brand. Your child is the brand. College is not the brand. It's good to go to a college close by to your house. It's good to go to a college where there are extracurricular activities. There is no need for the sun stemming out from the college to fall, the rays to fall on your face. No. आपके बच्चे ब्रांड है, कॉलेज ब्रांड नहीं है, ये याद रखना. तो विचारों का धमाका क्या है? If I don't get marks, my parents will be very unhappy. A lot of kids come and tell me in my research that they want to get good marks to make the parents happy. Not at all. That's not the right approach. You have to study so that you respect yourself. You have to study that you feel that you've done your best. What you get is secondary. You have to study because you feel that you're honest to yourself. You have to study because you have taken up a responsibility, and you need to really cultivate the discipline of studying again in the next year. So what are the thoughts you get? Will I get good marks? Will my parents be happy? Will I remember what I've studied? Will I get an admission in a good college? My mother, by mistake, I told my father I'll get 95. Now what do? Will I actually be able to do what I dream? And so many questions. And the best way to answer these questions is systematic strategic studying. SSS, systematic strategy. Which means what? Which means do not think about the portion. When you think about the portion, you get paralyzed on the page.
Sir, may I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Sir, can we just have more of Hindi? That is what the comments I'm getting in personal chat.
बिल्कुल. यानी कहने का तात्पर्य ऐसा है कि ये हमने यदि पोर्शन पर ध्यान की तो हमें पेज पर पैरालाइज हो जाएंगे. बिल्कुल वहां विल बिकम नम. हम बिल्कुल ध्यान नहीं कर पाएंगे. अमी विल नॉट बी एबल टू कंसंट्रेट. थिंक अबाउट द पेज का सोचना जो अपने हाथ के सामने है, तो ऐसे लगेगा कि पोर्शन धीरे धीरे होता है. या मैं आपको कुछ कहूं कि एमबीबीएस में भी हमारा पूरा पोर्शन कंप्लीट नहीं होता, एमडी में भी पूरा पोर्शन कंप्लीट नहीं होता है. लॉ एग्जाम्स में भी बच्चे बोलते हैं कि पूरा पोर्शन कंप्लीट होना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. तो विचारों का धमाका आता है तब. हो सके जितना पढ़ना. 10th के एग्जाम के लिए 800,000 घंटे बाकी है. जितना हो सके उतना पढ़ना. और जब हम पढ़ते हैं, हो सके तो जितना ध्यान देना. और जब हम बिल्कुल पढ़ते हैं तब 30-35 मिनट से ज्यादा पढ़ाई मत करना. 35 मिनट के बाद अपने आप को उठाना. एंड व्हेन वी गेट अप, हम जब उठ जाएंगे तो याद रखो थोड़ा घूम के आना. 5-10 मिनट का ब्रेक लेना. उस ब्रेक के समय 2 मनहूस चीजों के ऊपर हाथ मत डालना, वो रिमोट और टेलीफोन. हंसना थोड़ा, गाना सुनना 1-2, मम्मी को टपली मारना, मम्मी से बात करना, और फिर से आके कुर्सी पर बैठना. And when you take a break, you'll find that all those things which have settled down in the neurons becomes stronger memories, becomes hard memories. Slowly it gets wired again. Also remember that your brain has a girlfriend. आपके भेजा का गर्लफ्रेंड है यार. आपके पास नहीं होगा गर्लफ्रेंड या बॉयफ्रेंड, पर भेजा को गर्लफ्रेंड और बॉयफ्रेंड है. और जब पूछते हैं भेजा को, रोज भेजा अपनी गर्लफ्रेंड और बॉयफ्रेंड से बात करता है, क्या कर रहे हो मेरे स्नायु, मेरे मसल्स कहता है क्या बताऊं भेजा. What do I say, my dear brain? My muscles are static. मेरा मसल्स तो हिलता ही नहीं है. ये बच्चा उठता ही नहीं कुर्सी से. पुस्तक या फोन के अलावा अपना पुष्ठ भाग हिलाता ही नहीं. अरे यार, भेजे को एक्टिव रखने के लिए हाथ पैर हिलना चाहिए, उंगलियों नहीं। हाँ, उंगलियों से खेलना खेल नहीं होता है, हाथ पैर से खेलना खेल होता है। Fingers do not help the brain to become active. It is the hands and legs which help the brain to be very active. And whatever happens, whether the timetable has not been followed properly, whatever happens, half an hour of exercise is a must. Huh? You can run around the building, you can take a football and just dribble around the building like Beckham or whoever. You can just take a ball and a bat and hit the ball on the wall, and as it comes back, hit the ball against the wall. You can just do skipping inside the house. Boys can also do a skipping. And then once you feel very joyous after the exercise, brain gets very relaxed. All the negative energies go down. Brain becomes ready for work again. Sometimes it so happens that some thoughts are very difficult. We have financial problems. हमें बड़ी आर्थिक समस्या है, और ये आर्थिक समस्या से मुझे बहुत तकलीफ होती है। मैं क्या करूं? मेरे दिमाग में वही चलता है, आगे क्या होगा। याद रखना, हर एक आर्थिक समस्या से मात करने के लिए एक ही उपाय है, वो है विद्या, एजुकेशन। मैंने कहता हूं, यूनिसेफ ने कहा है, पॉवर्टी इज द मोस्ट, एजुकेशन इज द मोस्ट पावरफुल एंटीडोट अगेंस्ट पॉवर्टी, एजुकेशन द मोस्ट पावरफुल एंटीडोट अगेंस्ट ऑल डिसएम्पावरमेंट। और यदि आपको ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे घर में बहुत तकलीफ है, पैसे की बहुत तकलीफ है, तो इससे आपकी जिज्ञासा, आपकी जिद और आपका टेनेसिटी बढ़ना चाहिए कि मुझे पढ़ाई करना ही है, मुझे मेरे घर में परिवर्तन लाना ही है, मुझे मेरे घर की हालत में परिवर्तन लाना है। उसके लिए एक उपाय है, वो है पढ़ाई। और कभी कभी ये विचार बहुत आते हैं, और जिससे पढ़ाई भंग होता है, और जब पढ़ाई भंग होता है ना, तब कुछ भी मन के अंदर कुछ नहीं जाता है। और तब क्या करना चाहिए पता है? अपने फेवरेट टीचर से जाके बात करना चाहिए। सचमुच कहता हूँ, दिमाग का धुआं जब निकल जाता है तो दिमाग शांत होता है और फिर से पढ़ाई पर ध्यान लगता है। आपके शिक्षक आपको पैसे नहीं देंगे, आपके शिक्षक आपको आपके फाइनेंशियल स्टेट, आर्थिक जो आफत है उसको सॉल्व नहीं करेंगे, पर आपसे बातें करेंगे, धुआं निकल जाएगा, फिर से पढ़ाई पर ध्यान लगेगा। बहुत सारे शिक्षकों ने अपने जेब से पैसे निकालकर बच्चों के फीस भरे हैं, फोन लाकर उनको दिए हैं। अनसंग हीरोज अक्रॉस द कंट्री। सो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, विचारों का धमाका बहुत है, तो आपके लिए आपका शिक्षक, आपके लिए आपका काउंसलर या साइकियाट्रिस्ट जो भी है, उससे बात करना, ताकि भेजा साफ हो, फिर से जगह बने पढ़ाई स्टोर करने के लिए। अरे किसको पढ़ाई से बहुत, एग्जाम से प्यार है, ऐसे मुझे बताओ। एक बार एक स्कूल में मैंने कहा, सभी बच्चों का एग्जाम्स का एक ड्राइंग बना दो। सभी ने रावण, ये बैताल सबका ड्राइंग बना। डर तो लगता है यार, डर तो लगता है यार, डर के आगे जीत है ना, घबराहट होती है। और जब आप एग्जाम्स के बारे में सोचते हो तो याद रखना, जो बच्चे एग्जाम्स के पहले 10 मिनट प्राणायाम करते हैं, और अनुलोम विलोम करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, सिंपल लंबा सांस लोगे और उसे धीरे से लोगे और धीरे से उसे छोड़ोगे, तो ये पाइप जो है ना, ब्रेन टू द पेन, साफ हो जाता है। और एट टाइम्स व्हेन यू क्रैक अ जोक, व्हेन यू लाफ बिफोर द एग्जाम्स, पाइप साफ हो जाता है। व्हेन यू लिसन टू म्यूजिक, पाइप साफ हो जाता है। व्हेन यू प्रे टू गॉड, पाइप साफ हो जाता है, डर कम हो जाता है। और याद रखना, ऐसे सभी टीचर्स आपको कहेंगे, खास करके एसएससी आईसीएससी के, कि पूरा क्वेश्चन पेपर पढ़ो। अरे पूरा क्वेश्चन पेपर पढ़ोगे तो फटेगी। मैं तो कहता हूं, क्वेश्चन पेपर हाथ में लो, एक क्वेश्चन के ऊपर आपका ध्यान गया कि आपको आती है, एंड यू नो दैट आंसर ऑफ दैट क्वेश्चन, एंड यू हैव टू स्टार्ट राइटिंग दैट क्वेश्चन स्ट्रेट अवे, बिकॉज वॉल खुल जाता है, ब्रेन का पाइप खुल जाता है, और धबधबा, the waterfall starts and the pipe opens completely and the confidence improves. And slowly you'll find, when you know question 3, you write it, then you know question 4, then question 5, oh my God, what is happening? Leave it aside. तुझे बाद में देख लूंगा यार, बाद में देख लूंगा। Question, when you write question 6 and 7, you remember question 5. When you leave it, भेजा का नखरा बंद होता है, आंसर देता है। So start with the answer which you know the best. When you read the entire question, आईला कालच मी वाचलो, आता मला आठवत नाही, अरे I left this chapter, कब मैं छोड़ दिया था चैप्टर, क्यों उन्होंने पूछा? ये सब झंझट में मत गिरना। और जब क्वेश्चन नहीं आती है ना, ऐसे मत करना, सुपरवाइजर आपको नहीं बताएगा, इधर उधर मत देखना। हर एक क्वेश्चन के बाद, हर एक आंसर के बाद 10 सेकंड का सांस लेना, हंसना और ऐसे करना, और जब आप हंसते हैं ना ऑटोमेटिकली अंदर का भेजा भी शांत होता है, और भेजे से भेजा कहता है मैं तेरे साथ हूं यार। अरे माइंड ब्लैंक तो हमको एमबीबीएस में भी हुआ था, एमडी साइकियाट्रिक एग्जाम के समय भी हुआ था, और कभी कभी एग्जाम के पहले ना ये भेजा हल्का हल्का लगता है, वेरी लाइट लगता है। पूरा पूरा हमारा जो पुस्तक है फ्रीडमैन का प्लान खाली होगा ऐसा लगता है, ऐसा लगता है कुछ है ही नहीं यार, पूरा एक साल पढ़ा कुछ है ही नहीं। अरे बायोलॉजी, साइंस, कॉमर्स, इकोनॉमिक्स, फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, नथिंग, यू फील सो ब्लैंक, so blank. And that's the time when you say nothing doing, lamba saas lunga. And when you fight, no, the blank mind, the valve closes. When you do not fight, the valve opens. So important to understand that भेजे के साथ संबंध पहले से होना चाहिए, नींद वो अच्छा होना चाहिए, एक्सरसाइज होना चाहिए, बातचीत होना चाहिए। भेजा मेरे को लफड़ा नाही करणे का, साथ देणे का, आणि नंतर असं पण सांगायचं भेजाला की मी तुझा काळजी घेतो, तू माझा काळजी घे. And diet, time पे सोना, you will get 10% more marks. Very, very important. And then ऐसा कोई माइकल आल ने जो कहता है कि मुझे स्टडी से बहुत प्यार है, पैदा ही नहीं हुआ ऐसा। अरे when you say that I hate studies, not because you hate studies, it's because you do not know one answer on that day. When you say I hate maths, it's not that I hate maths. It means that I do not remember that chapter. When kids tell their parents, "Mala maths yetaks nahi," don't drop the tapeli from your hand. ये सोचना कि उस दिन उसको 2-3 सब में प्रॉब्लम हुआ। जब बच्चे साथ में खाना खाने के लिए बैठते हैं तो 130 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानी प्रवचन देते हैं। छोड़ दो अपना प्रवचन देने के लिए बहुत लोग हैं, वहाँ पतंजलि है, वहाँ बाबा है, रामदेव बाबा है, बहुत लोग हैं। आप जब बच्चे खाना खाते हैं ना, पढ़ाई के बारे में बात मत करना, हो सके फालतू बात करना। द फैमिली दैट गॉसिप्स टुगेदर स्टेज टुगेदर। फालतू बातों में बहुत ताकत है, छोटी छोटी बातों में बहुत ताकत है। और जब आप मम्मी पापा से बात करते हो या माँ बाप बच्चों से बात करते हैं, तब याद रखना, रिमेंबर दैट वन इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग, किड्स might suddenly say, "Daddy, I hate history. Daddy, the World War is useless chapter. कुछ घुसता ही नहीं. Daddy, that winds in geography, I can't understand. Southwest wind इधर जाता है उधर जाता है, अपने बाप का क्यों भैया, अपने बाप का क्या जाता है?" And that time don't say, "Oh my God, you have paid so much for the tuitions, I paid you so much for the fees." कुछ नहीं यार, एक चैप्टर की बात है यार, जिंदगी की नहीं। So remember one thing, this will also happen. हाँ, मैं स्कूल में टॉपर था, पूरा 10 साल टॉपर था, सॉरी अर्चना जी मुझे खुन्नस से देखे, टॉपर था। अरे यार, टॉपर बॉपर कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। समटाइम्स द बेस्ट टॉपर्स स्टैंड सेकंड इन द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एग्जाम। क्या फर्क पड़ता है? कुछ नहीं फर्क पड़ता है। सक्सेस इन लाइफ इज द क्यूमुलेटिव लर्निंग अक्रॉस टाइम, इन द फैमिली, इन द स्कूल, इन योर एजुकेशन, एंड your ability to learn from every experience, that gives success. Your ability to learn from every experience, to mine gold from every conversation. Admission का एक college becomes brand because of you. So ultimately, who is the brand? You are the brand. So ठीक है यार, in 10th you might get 95, but it may make no sense later. You might get 65, but it might not really curb your ambition. 95 मिला तो तुम हीरो नहीं हो, 65 मिला तो तुम जीरो नहीं हो। And in 12th होता है कभी कभी आगे पीछे, राहु केतु इकट्ठा आता है तो कितना भी पढ़ाई किया तो कम मार्क्स मिलते हैं यार, कुछ नहीं। आगे बहुत एग्जाम्स आएंगे, आगे बहुत सारे अपॉर्चुनिटीज आएंगे। Cumulative addition of all the exams is what is important. यानी हर एक एग्जाम में आप कैसे करेंगे, सभी का जब मिलावट करते हैं तो आपको यश मिलता है। और मैंने कहा अंग्रेजी में, यश का मतलब है हर एक पल में सीखना, घर के अंदर, घर के बाहर, कॉलेजों में, शिक्षकों के साथ और जिंदगी में। और ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। और याद रखना माँ बाप, माझ्या घरी एक डॉक्टर एक पण नाही, माझ्या मुलाला डॉक्टर बनवायचं, मेरे घर में कोई डॉक्टर, इसलिए मेरे बेटे को मुझे डॉक्टर बन। परसों मैं इसमें बैठा, ओला में बैठा था, उबर में, तो वो बेचारा मिस्टर पाटिल कहने लगा, मेरा बच्चा 6th में, पर माँ कसम मैंने वचन दिया कि उसको मैं डॉक्टर बनाऊंगा। मैंने कहा उसको तुमने पूछा क्या? बोलते नहीं पूछा। इस समय दिस इज नॉट द टाइम टू टॉक अबाउट कैरियर्स एट ऑल, दिस इज नॉट द टाइम टू टॉक अबाउट कॉलेज एट ऑल, दिस इज हियर एंड नाउ। वक्त का मतलब है अब, अमिताभ जी ने कहा था, वक्त का मतलब है अब। पढ़ाई करना है तो अब, प्यार करना है तो कल, मस्ती बहुत ऐश करना है तो कल। वक्त का मतलब है, so talk about the present, don't talk about the colleges, don't talk about your professions at all, and that will help the kids. मुझे कोई प्रवचनकार महाराष्ट्र में या पूरे हिंदुस्तान में नहीं चाहिए। जो माँ पिता बच्चों के सुनते हैं वो माँ पिता बच्चों के साथ अच्छा व्यवहार करते हैं। जो कान में जितनी ताकत है जबान में कम होना चाहिए। ईयर शुड बी मोर पावरफुल देन योर टंग एंड योर वोकल कॉर्ड्स। सुनने की क्षमता, जैसे लद्दाख के एमपी ने एक बार कहा था लोकसभा में, सुनने की क्षमता रखिए। मैं जो कहता हूं सुनने की क्षमता रखिए। जो माँ बाप सुनते हैं, कम बोलते हैं, कंधे पर हाथ रखते हैं और कहते हैं मैं हूं ना, नहीं मैं आमिर खान के बारे में नहीं बात करता हूँ, मैं हूं ना, वो बच्चे आज ने तो कल पलते हैं। जो माँ बाप कहते हैं मैंने इतना किया तूने क्या किया, वो बच्चे टूट जाते हैं। जो माँ बाप कहते हैं कि मैं इतना कुछ करता हूँ, खून पसीना एक करके मैं तुम्हारे लिए इतना करता हूँ, बच्चा गिल्ट में जाता है, बच्चा छोटा हो जाता है, कहता है आई एम यूजलेस चाइल्ड। ये कहने की आवश्यकता नहीं है। कॉन्सेंट्रेशन मेमोरी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। मैं कहता हूं मेरा कंसंट्रेशन 12th में कैसे रहा। मैं रोज सुबह भगवान शिव को प्रार्थना करता था। शिव इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं था, पर मेरी प्रार्थना में इतनी ताकत थी कि पूरे दिन मेरा ध्यान लगता था, क्योंकि एक ही मकसद था, मुझे कैसे भी करके एमबीबीएस में घुसना है। जब मकसद बहुत पावरफुल होता है तब फोनवा इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं होता है। when the goal is very powerful, then everything looks very secondary. When the goal is very powerful, concentration is sharp. When there's fire in your belly and fire in your mind, concentration is sharp. And when we actually look at excuses, concentration dies. So let me tell you, my dear friends, exams is like a buffet dinner. We go around the buffet, no? ये अच्छा खाना, ये खाऊंगा, ये इतना अच्छा नहीं. So among all the questions, you might like 5 or 6 questions well. One question you may not be so happy with. So do not worry about that. Do that 5, 6 questions well, and do as much as you can in the question which is not very good. So important. So important. And when you do that, you should understand that an exam is a buffet lunch. Similarly, your subjects are like a buffet lunch. I like physics, but I don't like bio. I like eco, but I don't like accounts. I like history, but I don't like biology. And there are so many subjects. Consolidate all the subjects which you like and chip and do as well as you can with a difficult subject. But कुछ बच्चे बड़े गलती करते हैं जिससे उनका कंसंट्रेशन के ऊपर असर होता है. पता है क्या? ये मेरा सब्जेक्ट वीक है, मराठी, मैथ्स, मैं उस पर पूरा ध्यान दूंगा, और इतने ध्यान देते हुए भी उनको ग्रिप नहीं मिलता है. और ग्रिप नहीं मिलता तब क्या होता है? There's a fire in the mind, the fire spreads to all other subjects. So do the reverse. Consolidate all what you know and chip on all others that you do not know. सुनते रहना माँ बाप का, पर जो आपको करना है करते रहना. 12th में कुछ माँ बाप कहेंगे नहीं, तुम्हें लॉ लेने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, तुम्हें साइकोलॉजी लेने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, तुम्हें आईटी में ही जाना है, तुम्हें यही करना है. चुप रहना और अपने माँ बाप को 12th एग्जाम के बाद कहना कि मुझे ये करना ही है. और जब माँ बाप आपकी बात सुनेंगे तो माँ बाप बहुत सारे आर्गुमेंट्स रखेंगे. सुनते, एक्नॉलेज ऑल देयर आर्गुमेंट्स, बट आंखों में वो चमक दिखाना कि मुझे लॉ करना है, मुझे साइकोलॉजी करना है. तब वो कहेंगे, वो आपसे बातें नहीं करेंगे कभी कभी. तब आपके शिक्षकों के साथ कहना कि मेरे माँ बाप से बात करो, और आप अपने माँ बाप को एजुकेट करने का पूरा कोशिश करना, और अपने मित्रों को कहना उनके साथ बात करो. अरे आपको डांसर बना तो क्या रॉन्ग है यार? पढ़ाई करते रहना, एग्जाम के बाद मीटिंग लेना और अपनी इच्छा प्रकट करना। घर में कोलाहल होगा, कोलाहल होने से कोई दिक्कत नहीं। मुझे आज भी याद है, एक डॉक्टर आए थे, कपल, गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट थे। उन्होंने कहा मेरा बेटे को डीजे बनना है, पर मुझे, मेरे 2 अस्पताल है, मुझे इसे डॉक्टर ही बनाना है। मैंने माँ बाप को डीजे और डीआर में क्या अंतर है? एक आर के बदले जे है। बहुत भड़क गए, निकल गए, मेरे पास बाद में नहीं आए। बच्चा डीजे बना, बहुत अच्छा डीजे बना, बिना वीड और हैश लेकर, बिना दारू पीकर, बिना कोई ड्रग लेकर। म्यूजिक उसकी जान थी, म्यूजिक उसकी अंतरात्मा में बसी हुई थी, एंड ही कुड डू इट। सो द पॉइंट इज, डू नॉट थिंक अदरवाइज। घर का माहौल कैसा होना चाहिए बताऊं क्या? बताता हूं। कुछ घरों में भगवान का माहौल, भगवान 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 भगवान। देखो, भगवान नमक जैसा होता है, थोड़े से चखे तो स्वास्थ्य अच्छा बनता है। Nothing wrong in praying to God, but do not continuously depend on any force for that matter. Efforts are very important. तो ये जो बहुत ही भगवान के प्रति ध्यान देना, पढ़ाई के लिए वक्त कम मिलेगा। इंटेलेक्चुअल एम्बियंस मतलब क्या है? अरे यार, हमारे घर में तो सभी इंटेलेक्चुअल है, वो कोई पीएचडी है, कोई एमटेक है, कोई एमसीएच है, और हम सिर्फ घरों में इंटेलेक्चुअल बातचीत करते रहते हैं। हम सिर्फ वैचारिक बातचीत करते रहते। काय को रे? घर में भावनात्मक एटमॉस्फेयर रहा तो बच्चे अच्छे रहते हैं। So emotional ambience is much better than an intellectual ambience. Too much intellectual ambience or too much of an ambience which is very, very godly. My dear friends, कुछ बातें कहना मैं भूल गया। 12th के बच्चों को ये डाउट होता है कि how much should we study for 12th आणि किती त्यांना अभ्यास करायचा आहे एंट्रन्स एग्जामचा। अहो, 12th के पहले 12th की पढ़ाई करो, 12th के बाद बहुत समय मिलता है एंट्रेंस एग्जाम के लिए। हाँ, नीट करते हो तो बिल्कुल 10,000 क्वेश्चन कम से कम सॉल्व करना चाहिए। प्रैक्टिस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। और याद रखना 12th के बच्चे, it is so important for you to tell yourself that I have made the effort. And for everybody at home, remember this beautiful formula. Concentration upon temperature is equal to memory. Which means temperature बढ़ गया, concentration कम हो गया. And that is so important. And for the parents, ये फॉर्मूला तुम जिंदगी पर अपनाओ। टाटू बनाओ, टाटू। ये एक्टर लोगों का मत बनाओ यार टाटू, मेरे वाक्यों का बनाओ। पहला वाक्य जो कहा था ना, स्टडीज आर लाइक वाटर, इट इवेपोरेट्स व्हेन बॉइल्ड, उसका बनाओ और इसका भी बनाओ। मैं बताता हूँ, एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ। मैं मैथ्स में बहुत होशियार था। बच्चों को ऐसा एहसास होना चाहिए कि एक्सेप्टेंस अपॉन एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैज टू बी ग्रेटर देन 1। कहने का तात्पर्य ऐसा है, विषय को मैं क्लियरली बताऊं तो, children should feel I will never be thrown away by the school or the college. My parents and my college and my school will never reject me. They have expectations. Parents have expectations and they should have. But acceptance should be more than expectation, which means मेरा बच्चा यदि गलती किया, यदि marks कम लाया, if he gets low marks, if he really goofs up in the exam, remember one thing, I will hold him a little stronger and little tighter. I will not leave him, because everybody knows that you can never choose your parents. Not available in Amazon. So remember, my dear parents, children should perceive acceptance more than expectations, and then they will always succeed in life. My dear friends, ये बड़ा distraction है। I have to really wish my girlfriend on the birthday, and the birthday is just around the time of exam. I should meet him. I should meet my boyfriend around the birthday. I broke up during the COVID lockdown, and that really is causing a lot of problems. My dear, it's causing a lot of problems. I'm in love with this boy or girl, and I need to tell him or her before somebody tells him. I'm so upset that my boyfriend or girlfriend is in love with my friend. That can really break your exams down. Remember, my dear friends, only one thing. The first love around the time of exams has to be your studies. Arey bhai, if you love your studies, swayamvar ho jayega, line lagegi. Archana, is there anything happening? You're very tense.
There are a few children who are just passing unwanted comments, and
That's okay.
yeah, that's okay. Unless it is indecent, I'm removing them from the. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kids are like that. They learn slowly.
That's okay. That's okay, sir.
And my real blessings are for all the kids who pass wanted.
Absolutely.
So, my dear friends, if you're lost in love, though, so remember one thing: you love your studies. There'll be a line, there'll be a queue for Swayamvar, both for boys and girls. You'll have better choices. And you have difficulties in your mind, if you have had sexual abuse, if you feel very low about yourself, your concentration might also go away. And you feel very low about yourselves, you won't be able to really look at your studies. So love, when I say love, studies first best. अरे ब्रेक ले लो यार प्यार से, बता दो अपने बॉयफ्रेंड गर्लफ्रेंड को अभी नहीं, एग्जाम्स के बाद बात करेंगे। और यदि आप में हिम्मत है रुकने की, तो आप मेरे सच्चे बॉयफ्रेंड और गर्लफ्रेंड हो। इफ यू हैव द एबिलिटी टू वेट फॉर मी, ट्रू लव ऑलवेज वेट्स। True love always waits, and that is something which is so important, so important, so important. My dear friends, if you have difficulties with your boyfriend or girlfriend, do not enter into any conversation as of now. Tell them that we'll wait and talk after the exams, and that is so important. My dear friends, remember one thing, and my parents, you have provided an opportunity. आपने अपने बच्चों को मौका दिया है, साथ में माहौल देना भी जरूरी है। सिर्फ मौका, ट्यूशन फीस, स्कूल फीस, पढ़ाई, जो चाहिए वो फोन, और यदि ऐसे रहा तो याद रखना, somebody is asking for control of my screen, some Anushka, you're throw her out. And very important to understand that you need to give them opportunity, but at the same time you need to give them माहौल। जब माहौल और मौका इंटरेक्ट करती है तो क्रांति हो जाती है। माहौल का मतलब मैंने बार बार बताया, टेम्परेचर कम रखना, फीलिंग फ्रेशेस कहना, और ये सब करने के लिए आप अपनी जिंदगी भी अच्छी तरह से जीना, सोना समय पर। कुछ माताएं, बच्चे रात को बैठते हैं तो हम रात को बैठेंगे, बच्चे जब उठते हैं तो मुन्ना ही चलेगा यार। और कुछ बच्चे 2-2 बजे तक बैठ के ऐसे पढ़ते हैं, लोगों को फोन करते हैं, मैं तो अभी पढ़ रहा हूँ। ये रात को पढ़ने का जो है ना, नींद कम करेंगे तो याद नहीं रहेगा, नींद कम करेंगे तो लंबा समय लगेगा पढ़ने के लिए। It's so important to understand that if you really do not sleep, you will require longer hours of study to remember the same amount of subject. So my dear friends, some children are owls. They like to sleep late and study, and some children are larks. They like to start early. But remember, don't sleep so late that at the time of exams you will sleep. So that's important to understand that 7 to 8 hours of sleep is important. Studies are like water; it evaporates when boiled. At the same time, I would say that sleep is about architecture. It's not about arithmetic, and that is very important. So scaring and inspiring will not work. Scaring and inspiring will not work. And what is important is sharing and inspiring will work. My dear friends, exams basically are numbers of the share market. In spite of all your efforts, you might get lower than expected. But remember, my dear parents, jo bhi marks mila na, party dena chahiye. When you give party with whatever marks, you'll understand that you're not ashamed of your children, and children will feel they're accepted as they are. As I have a friend, 42% in BCom and a director of a bank, because he gathered himself later and studied more. So remember, whatever marks of kids get, announce it openly and throw a party. And that means you are saying, I'm not ashamed of my children. My self-esteem will be very important. My dear friends, as you do your 11th and your 12th and your 10th, remember one thing, not to forget your exercise, not to forget your sleep, which is so important. See that your phones are with your parents most of the times. Honestly, I'm saying it's phone addiction is worse than cocaine and alcohol addiction. See that you train your brain and remember as much as you can. See that you reproduce certain things like chemistry equations, math sums, a lot of practice necessary. See that if you actually have learning disability and if you have assistance of a writer and extra marks, see that your self-esteem is maintained. See that all the 10th standard teachers and all the 12th standard teachers should be available for their students on the phone, and see that students access the teachers for difficulties. All the school counselors in every school should be available for all the students around the time of the exam. My dear friends, exam is not a milestone, but a stone with many miles to go. With this, I would like to ask you one question, which you need to check later. And that is, do you know how much did Sachin Tendulkar and Mahatma Gandhi scored in the 10th standard? And still they became great men and great women. My dear friends, my dear parents, the last line for you. Last line for you. Never, ever give up on your children. Never, ever give up on your children. Because you never know when they will be awakened. कब जग जाएगा पता ही नहीं चलेगा. मेरा बेटा 2 साल ऐसे ही वेस्ट किया, एंट्रेंस एग्जाम दिया, कुछ अचानक जग गए और आज MBA करके नौकरी कर रहा है. अचानक जग गया. I have seen kids. I still remember my friend Gopal Sharma from my school, St. Xavier's High School I belonged to from Vileparle. He never studied in school at all. He was doing all the wrong things in the school. And suddenly when I finished my MBBS, I heard if he's finished his CA. And I went to him and asked him how. Suddenly he found a good group of kids and he suddenly discovered his abilities for accounts and mathematics. And he finished the CA. So my dear parents, ऊपर वाले ने बच्चों को आत्मविश्वास दिया है, आप सिर्फ टिका के रखो, सिर्फ टिकाना उसको. Never, ever give up on your children. You never know when they will be awakened. Today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. With this, I thank IMA Maharashtra for inviting me for this wonderful interaction. I'm really waiting to answer as many questions for as long as the time from parents, teachers, and students. मेरे पास वक्त ही वक्त है. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful session. And yes, it is important for the students to continue their pace, understand that this is not the end of life. Exams do mean a lot, but they do not mean everything. So give your best, and then you have to leave it on the exams, because our exams are mark-based. You cannot help that. It's just that, you have to put in your best efforts, and the parents, we need to really, really stop pushing our children continuously, non-stop, nagging them into studies. And we need to see beyond that. As sir rightly said, nobody today, none of us remember our 10th standard marks. Or for that matter, 10th standard is just for seeking your college of your choice, getting a stream of your choice, and probably it's the 12th standard which is going to matter a little bit for getting into the career of your choice. Because now, if you see in all the entrance exams, all the admissions these days are all entrance exams based, and even when you give entrance exams, your college marks, they are going to really be having limited importance in the lives of your children. So with this, this forum is open for taking questions, and I will now start inviting people to ask their own questions. I please request to maintain decorum while asking the questions, because any untoward, unwanted, unacceptable language used, I will be removing that person from the session. So I will invite people as I see their hands on the screen. I invite Shishir Singhal to ask his question. Shishir, please ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Feeling so honored to speak to you, sir. My question is, scoring very good marks is important or gaining knowledge from studies is important?
Both are important, my dear Shishir. Like, for example, there are so many kids who know a lot about the crow. I'll give an example. The crow. They have read the encyclopedias of the origin of the crow, but in the exam you have to answer one-line answer about the crow. So you need to know that one line also. So it's extremely important to keep your hunt for knowledge continuously, quest for knowledge continuously. I read a lot even today, and I believe that I don't know everything. 1 hour of day I read something, or so it's important that you acquire knowledge, because knowledge ultimately is stored and helps you to really function whenever you become a professional. But at the same time, हाथ में जो पुस्तक है ना, इतना भी बोरिंग हो यार, पढ़ना चाहिए, क्योंकि सिस्टम के अंदर रहकर नॉलेज प्राप्त करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, और साथ साथ में आगे बढ़ना. Sometimes we feel we are good at practicals, but we're not good at theory. But I understand that every course, 12th BA, BCom, BSc, MBBS, MD, is not adept to address issues in the real world. There's always a gap, and academicians try to fill the gap as much as they can. But being sound in theory is as important as being understanding practical, which means if I say as a psychiatrist, you need to know life history of Freud, Sigmund Freud, and life history of Patanjali and yoga as much as you know all the medications. So my dear Shishir, what a beautiful question you've asked. It's important to do both. But exam ke din, आपने encyclopedia लेके बैठा या online में, if you want to read something about nanophysics or artificial intelligence, when your exam is geography the next day, is not appropriate. So find a balance, but your quest for knowledge should never go away. Thank you, Shishir, for that lovely question.
Yes. So anybody who is done with asking questions, please lower your hand. My dear children, if you feel shy in raising your hand and asking question personally, you may please put it in the chat box and I'll take it up for you. So please put your questions in the chat box if you don't want to come on board and ask the question. I now invite Sakshi Pawar to ask your question. Sakshi, please unmute yourself.
Sir, how to become a psychiatrist?
Yeah, congratulations. You can become a psychologist or a psychiatrist. For being a psychiatrist, you need to do MBBS, and then you need to do either DPM or MD psychiatry, and that is through the science field. And if you want to become a psychologist, you can do your 12th arts, BA psychology, MA psychology, and then PhD according to the new education college or MPhil and PhD. So there's two routes for doing mental health work. You can do MA, you can do MD, but at the same time, there's a third route, that is social work, medical social work. You can do medical, MPSW, medical and psychiatric social work, and still do mental health work. Thank you, Sakshi, for that interest in the subject of psychiatry.
Yes. So after 12th, you will have to, if you want to take up medicine, you will have to give NEET exam. And so for that, please take up science as a subject and prepare for NEET. So all the best, Sakshi, for your future career. I'm getting a question about, how to choose your career. So I would just like to inform everybody that we are having a session on career counseling as we had last year. So we are having it in the second week of April. We are having a session on the career counseling. And at the end of this session, I will be giving out dates when we are having what sessions. So please be with us till the end of the session. I now invite Angad Chadda to please ask his question. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, so I'm a class 12 student and I have opted for biology. And sir, हम लोग का CBSE का जो फर्स्ट सेम एग्जाम था सर, वो ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप हुआ था सर. सर तो मुझे सर वो मतलब ऑब्जेक्टिव करते बहुत अच्छे से बन गया था सर, पर अभी सेकंड टर्म हम लोग का सब्जेक्टिव हो रहा है, उसमें सर थ्योरी लिखना पड़ रहा है सर. तो वो सोच के सर मतलब मेरे को सर बहुत डर लगता है सर, उसको सब सोच के मतलब मैं सर तो क्या करूं सर उसके लिए.
बिल्कुल अंगद, अभी क्या है, माहौल जैसे हमें बदलना बहुत आवश्यक है, और ऑब्जेक्टिव आपको आता होगा, इसका मतलब आपको मैटर अच्छी तरह से आती है. 15-20 ऑब्जेक्टिव आंसर्स मेक्स वन लॉन्ग आंसर. 7-8 objective answers makes one brief answer, and 1 or 2 objective answers makes one line answer. So फिर से प्रैक्टिस करना. यदि आपका सब्जेक्ट का ज्ञान अच्छा है तो बिल्कुल आप लंबा आंसर भी जरूर लिख सकते हैं, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So it might take some time to adapt. तो मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. आज से आपके पिछले 5 साल का जो है ना पेपर्स, उसमें 1-2 आंसर लिख के निकलना, रोज लिख के निकलना 1-2 आंसर, तो आपको पता चलेगा कि आप लॉन्ग आंसर लिख सकते हैं. अभी 9th, 8th और 9th में यदि ऑब्जेक्टिव रहा तो याद रखना 7th में तो ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं था ना, 6th में तो ऑब्जेक्टिव बिल्कुल नहीं था. सो इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट टू अडेप्ट एंड कम बैक. सो थोड़ा प्रैक्टिस और थोड़ा अपने आप कहना. यदि मैं ऑब्जेक्टिव आंसर अच्छी तरह से लिख सकता था विदाउट कॉपिंग, तो याद रखना 18, 10, 15 ऑब्जेक्टिव आंसर्स इज इक्वल टू 1 लॉन्ग आंसर, 7-8 ऑब्जेक्टिव आंसर्स इक्वल टू 1 ब्रीफ आंसर, एंड 1 or 2 ऑब्जेक्टिव आंसर्स इज 1 शॉर्ट आंसर. तो ऐसा है बेटा, कोई फिक्र नहीं, यू विल इजीली अडेप्ट. पर यदि बहुत डर लगता होगा तो ये डर बांटना अपने मित्रों से. बहुत डर लगता होगा तो अपने शिक्षकों को फोन करके कहना मुझे बहुत लगता है डर, वो आपको सुकून करने के लिए उत्तर देंगे, आपको कुछ एक्सरसाइज देंगे, आप कुछ टूल्स देंगे. और यदि कोई नहीं है तो लंबा सांस लेना. लंबा सांस लेने से दिमाग शांत होता है और दिमाग अच्छा होता है. Thank
Sir,
you.
Sir, may I add on to that? It's that beta, all the teachers, there are many question books available. You can start solving the question papers, and even your college teachers will be happy to read them and check them. So unless you start writing, because I think these 2 years, what we saw that all the writing practice has been done away with. Students have not done any writing practice almost at all. So the more you start doing some writing practice, you will be more efficient at this. So start solving your papers and give it to your teachers for checking. I invite Gaurav to ask your question.
Yes,
Gaurav,
ma'am.
please. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you very much, sir, for this session. Like it was really very informative and really well helpful. So, sir, my question is, you said studying is important, but sir, there are a few subjects. Like for me, particularly social studies. It is a subject which I don't like, but still it is important for gaining marks. So, how can I study for it, and like what can be the strategy you will suggest? That is my
Absolutely,
question.
very, very nice question. But I would like to also tell you one line about career test, and that is DMIT test is not an aptitude test. Remember, the fingerprinting DMIT test is not an aptitude test. Please don't do it. Please don't do it at all, and that is very important for all of you to know. अभी सोशल स्टडीज में हिस्ट्री, ज्योग्राफी और सिविक्स. हिस्ट्री तो कहानियों का भंडार है यार. वहां से युद्ध शुरू हुआ, फर्डिनेंड मार्कोस को किसी ने गोली मार और पहला वर्ल्ड वॉर शुरू हुई. कहानी जैसे आप यदि इतिहास को पढ़ोगे तो याद रखना बहुत आसान है. यदि आप सोचोगे कि सिर्फ डेट्स याद करना है तो मजा नहीं आएगा. आर्मी और वेस्ट जर्मनी के ऊपर जो वर्ल्ड वॉर 1 के बाद जो दबाव लाया गया, वर्सेल्स ट्रीटी, यदि कहानी की तरफ इतिहास पढ़ोगे तो अच्छा लगेगा. ज्योग्राफी ऐसा है कि अलग अलग चैप्टर्स है. यदि आपको पढ़ना है तो अपने गांव का याद करो, आपके गांव में कौन सा सॉइल और क्या क्या उगता है. वैसे सो इफ यू एसोसिएट स्टोरीज विद हिस्ट्री, इफ यू एसोसिएट प्रैक्टिकम विद ज्योग्राफी, क्लाइमेट का होता है उसमें चैप्टर, तो क्लाइमेट, इफ यू रियली लुक अराउंड द कंट्री एंड एसोसिएट द क्लाइमेट्स ऑफ डिफरेंट पार्ट्स ऑफ द कंट्री विद द चैप्टर, देन you will understand. But if you try to mug them, then it will become very disinteresting. Civics, there are certain things which are very common. Governor, president, all those are common, that you have to remember. But history should be history, which means learning history via stories, and geography, associating the chapters of geography with the land in India, with the soil, with the climate, with the winds, and with so many other things. If that is the methodology of study, you'll remember. So when you say I'm not interested, what happens is you close your minds to the subject. You tell your mind that I'm not interested, which means my mind says I am also not interested. So even if you study, I will not store it. When you tell the mind that I need to use different strategies to learn history, geography, and civics, you'll understand it much better. So do it. World War तो हर बार आता है. महात्मा जी के बारे में हर बार कुछ न कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछते रहते हैं. तो इतिहास को कहानी की तरह, geography को associate की तरह, association with the land and the country and soil, etc., And civics, you need to remember those things which are very common. Sometimes governor, president, again, the powers, etc., are fairly overlapping. And that's how you need to really study. At the same time, remember one thing, my dear friend, go back to your old papers and see how they've asked the questions. And if you know which section will have how many marks, and working towards that is very important. I still remember in my 12th inter science, we had frog in a subject, and we had other animals, and the marks given for each was very different. But unfortunately, our teachers taught frog across 4 months, and people focused on frog across 4 months, and they did not understand that the number of marks which are attributed to the frog is very small. So learn the attributions to the marks, and it is chapter is section से इतने marks का ही आता है. वैसे strategically पढ़ना, तो I think social studies will also become interesting, and you'll be able to remember.
Absolutely, sir. You so rightly said. And second thing is to make it interesting. Now, we did not have that luxury, but now on YouTube, there are lots of chapters which are available in different ways, explained.
Audio form, yeah.
Yeah, so in an audio-visual form wherein, the chapters are explained in an easy-to-go way. So if you find something really particularly difficult, you may just go back to that and take help of that audio-visual explanation of the chapter done in different forms. Now, sir, I'm getting many questions regarding the choice of career field, how to become IAS, how to give NEET PG, how to become a CA, how to take up MBA with computer science, how to become an archaeologist. So on 17th April, my dear children, on 17th April, we have career guidance session. So everything regarding all the careers in science, in arts and commerce will be taken up. So please do join us for the career guidance webinar on 17th of April. Now all these questions will be taken up there. I invite Bhumi Dahale to please ask a question. Bhumi, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning, beta.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah,
sir.
beta, you're audible. Please ask your question.
I want to ask that now SSC exams are like 1 or 2 weeks further. So the thing is that many of our students have less time to study. So we are making timetable like to study for 10 hours in a day. And if we don't follow it, we become stressed. And the things we are learning, we learn that. So to stop this and stop stressing out, how can we manage smart study with less time?
Well, as I've said, if you focus on the portion, your syllabus gets really covered. Now, timetables are not the same for every child. It is so different for every child. Some children have this timetable for a week, and they try and finish everything in that week. One Monday they might go slow, Tuesday they might go fast. But at the end of the week, they would actually reach around 70 to 80% of what they're planned. Timetable should be made by yourself based on your style of studying. It should not be made by your mother, father, or your tuition teacher. Timetables have to be realistically made so that you can actually do things which you can. Now, being effective in the day would also mean that you don't read 10 hours at a stretch. You take breaks, you do dance, you laugh, etc. And as much as you can is the best philosophy just before the exams. As much as you can. When you do as much as you can, you'll see that you have finished approximately 80% of the portion. So if you get stressed only when you think, "Arey, maine itna socha tha, itna abhi tak hua nahi," तो होगा स्ट्रेस. जो किया उसके बारे में सोचना, मैंने आज 70% कंप्लीट किया, मुझे अच्छा लगा, 30% ठीक है, रह गया. When you say रह गया, स्ट्रेस कम हो जाता है. But when you are very particular कि what to what मेरे को पढ़ना चाहिए, तो स्ट्रेस बढ़ता है. So be realistic with your timetables. Have a great mood around the time of your studies. And remember, as much as I can, it's a very good philosophy around studies. And what is also important is we have different natures. Say, for example, some people read every day, very regular. Some people chunk, few days more, few days less, few days more, few days less. At the end of the day, at the end of the time, but during the exam, they're there. Some kids start vigorous reading around when they hear the exam date. Some kids, unless you put a gun on the head, they don't read, they don't start. So sometimes the gun on the head is also very important. And some kids, even if you do anything, they don't study, they get awakened much later. So if you're happy that you have done so much, though you have planned a little more, that is the satisfaction you need to accept. Some children have asked here on the web, that maths is a very difficult subject.
Yes.
Yeah. And that I think is a very
Sir,
important.
math, science, history, and SS, the common questions. So this is what I was going to take up next.
History and SS we have answered. Maths kaisa hai na? Maths mein 5 cheeze hoti hai. Ek to, do you understand the language of maths? Number 2, are you able to put down all the digits on the paper? Because if you have dyscalculia, you may miss, you may make mistakes in maths. If you have issues with attention, you might miss one or two digits and you make mistakes. If you have attention issues, you might do first step correct, the second step correct, and a third and fourth step, you might make a mistake. Fourth is if you are emotionally very, very disturbed, you might make a mistake. And sometimes fear of maths is enough to make a mistake. So look at the maths chapters and look at weightage of the chapters with respect to the questions. Practice as much simple things as you can. And as of now, you cannot go ahead and do your LD test. It's very difficult. So if there are 20 chapters, 18 chapters, if you are good at 8 to 10 chapters, you forget some of those chapters and you can go ahead and finish your maths. The fear of maths should not cause fear and fire in all other subjects. Now in science, physics, chemistry, and biology, most of us are good in 1 or 2. People who are good in maths are good in physics. People are good in physics and chemistry, but very bad in bio. People are good in bio, okay in physics, and okay in chemistry. That's life. I'm okay with poha. I love sabudana vada, and I'm excellent with idli. That's how it is in life. In life, you are very good at some, little better with others, and not very good at others. So that should be the philosophy. But do one thing: jitna ho sake padhai karo, jitna ho sake aage badho. As much as you can is the philosophy just before the exams.
Absolutely wonderfully said, sir. So the next question is, a student is asking that which is a better time to study, a daytime burning candle at both the ends, or a daytime study, or a nighttime study?
I have said that actually there are 5 types of people with respect to sleep-awake cycle, but I will talk about 2. Some of us are owls. They like to write and read late till 12 o'clock at night, and they feel very good about it. But remember, you need to be up by 8 o'clock at least, because exams will be at around 10, 9, 11, and you should not be sleeping. So some kids love to actually study at night and they do very well. Some kids love to be up at 4 o'clock, at 5 o'clock and do very. So depending upon your constitution, your genetic constitution, should actually study. Don't copy others. There are some guys, Lord Falklands, they say, मैं तो पूरा रात बैठ के पढ़ाई किया. नहीं होगा, पूरा रात बैठ के पढ़ाई किया होगा, पर वो सब वर्ड्स है ना, हवा में यहाँ घूमते रहेंगे, दिमाग के अंदर नहीं जाएगा. So it's important that you study the way you feel is right. At the same time, remember one thing: do not talk to friends too much on the phone. That there will be some friend who says, "I finished 5 times revision." Tail लगाने गया वो. And some would say, "क्या पढ़ना यार? Exam के पहले एक दिन रात को पढ़ेंगे." No, ditch your friends and have your books and talk to friends who are realistic. अरे यार मैं इतना चैप्टर पढ़ा and ये चैप्टर मुझे नहीं आता. Realistic appraisal when friends give, then you're able to bond and then you're able to do well. So do not go by all those false assumptions. मैं 10 बार revision किया. They only call up to provoke anxiety in you. So you need to keep away from them.
Great, sir. So there's a question that I didn't want to do a particular subject or take up a particular career, but आई-वडिलांमुळे करावे लागले. So children always blame parents for that failure. So at this stage, how to tackle that?
I would say that are you a bloomer or a blamer? अब भी जो हाथ में है ना, वो तुम्हारा मिठाई है. If you don't like काजू कतरी and if you like only रस मलाई, काजू कतरी सामने है तो एकदम स्वाद से. Sometimes if you start loving the subject which you have in hand, you do much better. But sometimes you continue blaming. See, remember, there are blamers who start right from the school and they blame across life and they don't go up, travel and train. And you'll find that people are abusing their bosses all the time. They do not have the courage to confront him or her. And people who blame, they remain where they are. And people who confront their fears and their difficulties, they bloom. So start being a bloomer, accept what you have in your hand. And even if you feel that this is not your love, after your 12th, if you want to switch from science to arts, or you want to switch from science to commerce, please do it. And after you have taken a professional career, and if you find that you're not doing well in that, you can get down the ladder and go to somebody else. Don't go do engineering just blindly because engineering seats are available. See whether you have an aptitude for the aptitude test is not the MIT test. It is done by a psychologist where they check the aptitude, interest, and the personality, and that is very important.
Yes, absolutely. So aptitude test is not going to tell us the career that we should take. It only tells us what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are. And from that, we have to choose. And sir very rightly said, this is one of the major things which you have to understand. If you take up science, you can come down to commerce and arts. If you take up commerce, you may come down to arts. And if you take arts, you will be sticking to that. But then there are many career options which are unrelated to the subject option that you take, unrelated to science, commerce, arts. You may do it after any stream. So that's what I'm saying, that there are many career options. If not this, that, always have your plan A, plan B, plan C ready, so that one career option not getting it, or if you say that this career option I thought was right for me, but now I feel that it may not be right for me, you may shift to another career option. It's never too late. So with this, I invite Damini D to ask her question. Damini, please unmute yourself.
Okay, ma'am. First of all, thank you so much for conducting this session. So basically, I'm a science student, and I have taken science because I was interested in biology subject. I really love studying biology, and so I decided that I want to become a doctor. But later, I realized that I'm weak at maths, and in physics also I face a lot of difficulties. So later on, I also think that I am interested in theory subjects. So history and geography subject is also something I'm good at. So later my mood changed, and I got really fascinated towards becoming an IAS officer. So I just want to focus on theory subjects. But somewhere after 12th, I'm thinking of switching to BA course, but I've realized I listen a lot of taunts or a kind of thing that BA is a subject that which is like it's not good, like people very disrespected, and most of the people say that BSc and BCom is best compared to BA. So I really get frustrated because of it, and I can't focus on studies, and a lot of difficulties mentally. I feel like really bad.
Damini, during this time, we generally have a choice of many careers. In fact, when there was a war, as a child, I wanted to become an army officer. Then when I was hospitalized in a hospital, then I felt I should become a doctor. And so same with my son. My son came and told me, I want to become an eye doctor. We were very happy. Then I asked him why. He said, eye is very small, so the books of the eyes will be very small, so it will be easier to study. So these sort of things which is happening, ye ya wo is perfectly all right. But arts is as important as science and commerce. In fact, I would say as important. And you feel that you have an inclination for arts, as Ma'am Archana said that she will do a entire session on that. Then at that point of time, you need to reflect your choices with people who understand and are unbiased across things. And there's no loss of grace, loss of reputation if you do arts, commerce. Science is not the big brother among all the professions. So you need to do what is interesting. I'll tell you a story. There was this boy who came to me, and he was doing science, engineering, 12th and then engineering. And he was not studying. He failed in the first semester, all subjects. And he sat in front of me. His head was down, and his parents said, please explain to him कि थोड़ा उसको engineering में interest लाए. And he did not open a word, but he left a note. And that note was a beautiful article criticizing the field of psychiatry and mental health. And I did not focus on the theme of his writing. I focused on the English of his writing. And I said, how many poems or articles like this have you written? He said, I've written more than 120. Then I introduced him to a publisher, and his first book was published at the age of 18 and 19. And he switched from engineering to BA. And then he became a journalist. So these stories are there. And though you have the confusion, as of now, focus on your 10th or your 12th completely. And then after that, check your aptitude, discuss with friends who are experts in the field, and also with guys who are doing arts in colleges. And then you will be able to come to a conclusion. Your parents will also understand after some time, and that I think is so important. Thank you for that. I thank Sunita from Oxford School to remember me that I had come at Nanded once. And I would want to answer this question of Nita, how to balance between the kids' teenage moods and mother's menopause mood swings during exam days. Nita, you have really asked a very telling question. Let me admit that when children are 15 or 17, men are going through andropause and women are going through to menopause. And that complicates the entire picture. And sometimes the viciousness of the parents is not because of anything wrong with the child, but it's because of the hormonal swings which mothers and fathers also have. Let me say andropause and menopause very democratically. And here, my dear parents, it's so important. Rag avrat nasel. गुस्सा बहुत आती होगी, गुस्सैल हुए होंगे, तो बच्चों का कोई फॉल्ट नहीं यार, बच्चों के फिल्म के मार्क्स की वजह से नहीं है, अपने अंदर जो बदलाव आते हैं उसकी वजह से। तो आप अपने फैमिली डॉक्टर या आपके काउंसलर या आपके गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट, आपके साइकियाट्रिस्ट को जाके मिलिए, ताकि ये जो अपना भेजा है वो शीतल हो और वो स्विंग्स कंट्रोल में आए। नीता जी, very important question you've asked, and I really congratulate you for asking this question.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. One more question in the chat box is how to keep control on gadgets. You've already answered. If you could just answer it once again, because it's a burning question.
There's one psychiatrist, my friend, who did incentivizing the kids over gadgets at the time of COVID. She said, "Me tula 10 rupees dete, tu 2 taas band kar." Though I was against it when she said it, but she said it was successful. And I don't know if it can be tried, but I'm sharing it. And she stopped, and slowly her habits went down, and she learned how to save that money in the bank. So remember, but I believe that incentivizing is much better than a bribe. So incentivization, if he has not used a gadget on a day, congratulate him and incentivize him. That is important. Sometimes SSC kids listen to their parents. The problem with the choice boards, and sometimes if you really are firm and if they listen, it's perfectly all right. Sometimes kids gravitate towards gadgets also because they are troubled with studies and parents. And we have had an entire session on gadgets, if I'm not wrong. If you have had the session, I don't know. You can always share that link with them and they would understand. Sometimes kids are on gadgets for 12 to 14 hours and you can't do anything about it. And that is the time when you can't do anything about it. It could be because of anxiety gravitating towards gadgets. It could be actually depression, which makes him or her go towards gadgets. It may be pure addiction, and that's the time when psychologists and psychiatrists come into play. And let me tell you, separating the gadget from the child may be very difficult because he or she may become very violent and suicidal. And that's the time you need to really seek help with the psychiatrist. At the same time, it's so important that you can have gadget-free afternoons, gadget-free evenings. And also remember, my dear parents, if you have gadget discipline, then it's easier to implement it on children.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. We've got many questions in the chat box and many hands raised. So what I'll do is I'll take one from the audience and one from the chat box. So I invite Istuti Gupta. Please ask your question. Istuti Gupta, please unmute yourself and ask your question, beta.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hello, sir. My name is Istuti Gupta. And I'm from Datta Mekhe World Academy. Actually, I had this question from a long time, that how do we, overcome the problem of procrastination? Because how much ever I try that, yes, I'll sit for studying at 3 o'clock, but just doing time pass, it goes to 3:30. I'll say that, no, I'll go again to 4 o'clock and I'll study. This goes and goes on, and I'm not able to study.
Yeah. So as of now, we should not try any skills to break the procrastination because we have very little time. Stuti, what I would advise you, आपके घर में माँ है ना, माँ, मम्मी है आपके घर में? Stuti, you have a mom at home?
Istuti, please unmute yourself, beta.
Ma'am, I wasn't able to.
Yes, yeah. That's okay. Please unmute and answer the question.
You have your mom at home?
Yes, sir.
So you can take the help of your mother. You tell your mother a day बिफोर कि मुझे 3 बजे हाथ पकड़ के उठाइए और ये पुस्तक मेरे हाथ में थामिए और मुझे पूछे कि ये चैप्टर अभी आप पढ़ो. You can use anti-procrastinator guide at the time. Now, if you had come to me a year ago, I would have given you skill. That is one. And then, you know what happens to you guys? You are the guys where it's like a truck which would not start, and then you have to put a crankshaft in the truck and start. Because it's an ignition problem. It's not the engine problem. Engine is perfect. So you can use your mom to drag you and make you sit and start. That one. And number two is sometimes we also procrastinate because we have to be perfect. I'm one of them. Unless I have a perfect information about the system, I can't start an article. So sometimes you need to put the first draft down and improvise after that. So don't try to be perfect. Do as much. Do jo ho sake wo kijiye. Third is that you're very anxious about the volume of the subject. ना कुछ करना है तो मैं paralyzed हो जाता हूँ. So understand that यदि आपको पूरा glass दवा की पीना है तो एक चम्मच पियो तो थोड़ा हो जाता है. And when you actually start with your mom on the side, and a lot of kids like their parents to be sitting adjacent to them, and they're able to study. Some children need parents far away from them, and then they're able to study. But when you actually have your mom on the side, you'll find that you have finished little, and you finished 20% of what you anticipated. Then your speed increases. So that's what you need to do now. But for the future, you can always talk to Dr. Archana Pat and find tools by which you can break your procrastination. So little by little, chammach by chammach, piece by piece, you'll find your procrastination breaks at this time of the exams.
Yes, thank you so much. And Istuti, if you just go back to our team talk sessions, which we had last time, there was a session on time management. So wherein, they had taught about time bundles. So in a day, do not decide on 1 घंटे में इतना पढ़ूंगी, 2 घंटे में इतना पढ़ूंगी. Just say, आज के दिन में मैं इतना पढ़ूंगी. So that you may, do it at your leisure, say broken up in many parts, or you may just sit at one time and finish that part. But see to it that before the end of the day, whatever you're deciding to do in today's bundle, you will be finishing that. And even if you are procrastinating at that point in time, probably, if you do it in breaks, you will be able to finish whatever you have decided to do for today. I take up the question which has come in chat box, sir. What do we do when child? Yeah. What do we do when child is not interested in studies?
Absolutely. And if the child is not interested for a very long time, do not try to give many lectures. The best door to knock is the door of a favorite teacher, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist. Interest can also go down because of things inside the body, because of events happening in school, and because of emotional issues which the child is associated with. So sometimes you do not have to find the answer. You need to ask somebody else to find the answer.
Great. So I now invite Vaishnavi Pandey to please unmute herself and ask the question. Vaishnavi, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Vita. Please ask your question.
Hi.
Hi, sir. Thank you for giving me a chance. So my question is ki, whenever I try to study during exams or before exams, my mind says I can't. So please suggest something. How should I deal with this?
I would say, why does it say I can't?
Yeah. Vaishnavi, please communicate better. So solve all your questions, ask question, talk to sir.
Vaishnavi, unmute and explain to me, why do you say you can't? Yeah, Vaishnavi?
Hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Yeah. Why do you say I can't?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Why do you say I can't? Unmute and answer me this.
I can't hear.
Why do you say I can't? आप क्यों अपने आप को कहते हैं कि I can't?
Do you feel stressed? Do you feel anxious? What is it? What is stopping you?
Yes, ma'am. Stress, syllabus.
कोई बात नहीं. वैष्णव ऐसा है कि when you say you can't, if you have picked up a chapter, pick up something which you already know. When you pick up something which you already know, the ability to read improves and you go much faster. That is number one. Number two, you can do a little relaxation exercise much before you start. Number three, when you say I can't, it is an unreal sentence. Look at all the sentences which actually came to you across life. And the fact is that even when you say I can't, you have actually done a lot across time, isn't it? You have done a lot across time. And so that is something which is easy. Number fourth is, if you say you can't, is it because the concept is difficult, or is it because the concept before the chapter you have not understood, or is it because it's a habit? मेरा कभी भी मैं मेरे प्रार्थना इससे शुरुआत करता हूँ कि मुझे नहीं आएगा. So if you look at all the experience of the past, even when you say you can't, you've actually done. So that unreal thought in your mind will actually dissolve. But sometimes मेरे क्लास में बच्चे थे I can't बोलते थे और उसे सब्जेक्ट में फर्स्ट हाईएस्ट मार्क्स मिलता था. कुछ लोगों की ऐसी आदत है, रोते हाईएस्ट मार्क्स मिलता है. तो ये काफी उपाय है. You can actually start. But the best thing is to start with something which you know. I always tell people when they are stressed, pick up the subject which they know and start reading loudly. Sometimes reading with all five senses helps the brain to absorb and to kill the stress, and that is also very, very important.
Sir, with this, I would like to ask is what group studies help? I mean, if they study in with friends and, they discuss the issues
Depends. If the group has a rotten apple, then the entire group will go down. So, but if the group has synchrony and some rules for study,
Yes.
actually it works. In fact, we tell all the 10 standard kids when they go to school, as they meet outside the school and enter the school, you can finish one chapter among each other by asking one-line answers. And when they ask one-line answer across, it becomes strong because the words that run are not remembered. The words that rhyme are remembered much more better. Sometimes when you convert the chapter into songs, it's remembered much better. But when the group is synchronized, there is no love affair between one and the other, and they all have a common goal without thinking that I should score more than them.
Yes.
But then it depends.
It depends.
And some
Absolutely.
people don't like to work in groups. They like to work individually.
Yes. So basically, sir, there is one more question, and rather these are 2 or 3 such similar questions. I would just take it up together. Students are asking how to learn answers quickly, remember over long time. And similarly, there is a child who has asked how to stop getting scared of long answers, because looking at long answers makes me anxious and it makes me start overthinking.
Short-term memory, sequential memory, long-term memory. देखो भाई, आपके बैंक में कितना पैसा है ये उस समय याद रहता है जब आप बार-बार चेक करते हो अपने पासबुक में, अपने ऑनलाइन में कि मेरे पास 12,750 रुपया है. So when you recall, you remember much better and it becomes strong. Remember, when you remember the phone numbers of few people, no? Boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, and the bestie. Why? Because you love them. So when there's love associated with the subject, the memory is much better. Number 3, long answers, break them into pieces. मैं तुझे चीर के याद करूंगा. At the same time, remember every sentence has why, how, we may have, why, how, who, when, where, 7 things. And if you really mark the important word, the key words, I can teach any child 1 page in 5 minutes. I can teach any child 1 page in 5 minutes. They actually remember, and they remember it. They may not remember the entire thing, but they remember more something. Sometimes you have to remember easy concept first and the difficult concept later. Let's talk about hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity first, water is used. Second, it is cheap, and then you can answer. The best way to remember a long answer is translate the answer in the Mumbaiya language. Like for example, if I say Versailles Treaty in World War I, जर्मनी की लग गई वाट, उसके बाद उनको कहा गया कि इतना ही आर्मी रखने का, इतना सब स्टील अपने को वापस देने का. Then you translate them back in English, you find that you get the right answer. So ultimately, you need to cheat the brain. Love the answer, break the answer, store it in the way that the brain loves it. And this translating it in Bombaya Hindi is very easy to break the long answer. And my dear friends, long answer देख के आपको डरने लगना है. मैं तुझे चीर चीर के याद करूंगा. एग्जाम्पल देता हूं. Harish Shetty goes from home to the hospital. Okay. Harish Shetty started from home, sat in his car and went to JVLR, and then from there he drove straight across the signal and he turned left and turned right and came to the hospital. 20 to 40 words in a sentence. Break them into 8-word sentences, 7-word sentences. Harish Shetty got up. He went down the lift. He sat in the car. He drove up to the edge. Then he drove up to the extension road. Then he turned. So when you break it up into small sentences, especially children with learning disability, you remember the long answer. Once you make this habit of learning the long answer, you love learning the long answers. And that is ultimately, bheje mein kaise gusana, wo ek skill hai. It's like the mother who knows how to get up different ingredients and cook a dish much faster than the father who tries to look for the ingredients all day. So it's all brain skills. I can teach any child 1 page in 5 minutes.
True. So what is being actually taught in studies, I mean, except for language, is you really don't need a lot of grammar. Only thing is you need to learn is how to expand an answer. So any big answer, cut it out into shorter points. In when we were in medicine, we had so many arteries and so many territories and so many things to learn, which artery goes where and which tendon goes where and which bones are where. So what we learned was mnemonics. Mnemonics is, learning probably just the one alphabet, and after that remembering what that alphabet corresponds to and make an interesting word or a sentence out of it. So probably you all can do it for your social studies very, very easily. You can do it for your science very, very easily, because all you have to remember is particular points, because in exams, in your board exams, what they look forward is the key words. They are not looking at lot of grammatical answers, answers which are full of grammar. But when you remember that keyword should be good enough to make you expand in the exam when you are writing the answer. So if you have 5 marks question and the teacher is expecting you to write 10 points about it, so for 10 points, remember 10 important words, and after that you remember to expand them. So probably that would be very, very easy for you to do. I invite Vaishnavi Pandey has already asked question. I invite Sarvesh Murthy to ask question. Sarvesh, please unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, sir, the scenario is I had gone to my sister's wedding. So when for a week. So when I come back, the portion is still like it is not completed well. So the teachers are doing the fast step teaching. So we are not getting to learn it and learn it, and मतलब हम उसे कर नहीं सकते अच्छे से. और फिर वो parents tell us that you have to gain that much and that much percentage, and that stresses and that too.
अरे सर्वेश भैया, एक ही चैप्टर होगा, कुछ भाग होंगे तो उस पर ज्यादा ध्यान मत देना. जितना किया उस पर पूरा ध्यान देना. और जो चैप्टर आपको ठीक से नहीं आती है ना, अपने शिक्षकों को हैरान करके कैसे भी करके उसको पढ़ लेना. अपने माता पिता को हैरान करके उसको कैसे भी पक्का पढ़ लेना. अपने ट्यूशन टीचर को हैरान करके पढ़ लेना. जो टीचरों को हैरान करते हैं अपनी पढ़ाई के लिए, वो उनकी उन्नति होती है. जो माँ बाप को हैरान करते हैं अपनी पढ़ाई के लिए, उनकी उन्नति होती है. और उससे भी जितना वो जो आप सिस्टर की ब्याह में गए थे, बहुत एंजॉय किया होगा. जरा फोटो हमें भी भेजना. पर जो अब तक किया उसको अपने हाथ में लेना, और जो किया नहीं उसको धीरे से, बड़ा चपाती को जब हम खाते हैं पूरा चपाती अंदर नहीं डालते हैं, बाजू से थोड़ा चबा के खाते हैं, तो अंत में पूरी चपाती अंदर जाती है. सो ट्राई एंड गेट एज मच एज यू कैन, बट harass your teachers to see to it that they help you understand the chapters, and your parents and your tuition teachers. Your parents will always say मुझे इतना चाहिए, पर याद रखना वो तुम्हें प्यार करते हैं. उनकी अपेक्षा है, बट वो तुमको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं. वो जो बोलेंगे मुझे इतना चाहिए उतना चाहिए, ठीक है यार, ठीक है, पर अंतिम में जो कुछ मार्क्स मिलता है ना, वो स्टिल तुमको प्यार करेंगे और तुम्हारी साथ देंगे. आपको पढ़ाई करना है माँ बाप को खुश करने के लिए नहीं, आपको पढ़ाई करना है अपनी जिंदगी के लिए, अपने उन्नति के लिए. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है सर्वेश. तो जो अब तक किया है उस पर ध्यान देकर, जो आता है उसको धीरे धीरे पढ़ाई करने की कोशिश करना. पूरा नहीं आया तो भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं, पूरा पोर्शन नहीं कंप्लीट हुआ तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. जितना आता है उससे भी आपको 85 के आसपास आराम से मिल सकता है। एक लंबा क्वेश्चन यहाँ किसी ने दिया है, आई एम अ पेरेंट, व्हाट टू डू व्हेन स्टूडेंट does not like studying, and he has repeated that quite often. I always say when there's a schism between the child and the parent, कि वो पढ़ाई नहीं होता है तो तीन चीजें होती है। एक, पढ़ाई और बच्चों के बीच में कुछ दिक्कत होती है, टीचर्स और पेरेंट्स और बच्चों के बीच में कुछ दिक्कत होती है, या और कोई दिक्कत होती है, आप उसको एनालाइज करने का कोशिश मत करना। सच बता तो आपका क्वेश्चन बड़ा लंबा, आपने एक ही सेंटेंस को बार बार रिपीट किया ऑन द चैट बॉक्स। हाथ जोड़कर मैं आपको कहता हूँ, इसको एनालाइज करने के लिए, इसको ठीक तरह से समझने के लिए तज्ञ के पास जाना बहुत आवश्यक है, जो साइकोलॉजिस्ट या साइकियाट्रिस्ट या एक अच्छा शिक्षक, ताकि वो एनालाइज करे, उसका रूट कॉज ठीक तरह से पकड़े, ताकि आपका बच्चे के इंटरेस्ट कम क्यों है, अंदर कुछ शरीर में दिक्कत है, मन में कोई दिक्कत है, या आपस में कोई दिक्कत है, ये समझे तो मुझे लगता है बहुत अच्छा होगा। और यदि आपने क्वेश्चन बार बार लिखा है, इसका मतलब आप में भी पीड़ा बहुत है यार, आप भी बहुत इससे काफी तकलीफ में है। तो आप और आपके घर वाले, इनके बच्चे के आप पिता हो या माँ हो या दोनों जाकर अलग से कोई साइकोलॉजिस्ट को मिलना बहुत जरूरी है। मामला सॉल्व हो सकता है और होएगा।
Sir, there is one more question in the chat box. How to overcome the feeling of regret? Because during pandemic, children were not able to study effectively. And in this teenage, it becomes difficult to convince ourselves that it was not our fault. And now in few weeks, there is exam time. So how to come out of that regret?
यही तो मैं आपको कह रहा था कि बड़ा घबराहट, आगे का डर, और ये जो हुआ है, everybody is in the same boat. ये याद रखना, हम सभी उसी दलदल में हैं, और उसी दलदल में जब है तो उसमें से बाहर आना कैसे आपको समझना है। इसका मतलब यह है कि you're all on the same boat. Try as much as you can. ये तुम्हारा जिंदगी का आखिरी एग्जाम नहीं है, और जब ये जिंदगी का तुम्हारा आखिरी एग्जाम नहीं है तो आगे भी बहुत समय। साथ में आपने बहुत ऐश किया और कॉपी किया होगा 11th में, बहुत बच्चे कॉपी का आनंद लूटे हैं। हमारे समय पे कॉपी किया तो 15 मार्क कट करते थे या घर या स्कूल से बाहर निकाल देते थे उस एग्जाम के लिए। पर और ऐसे लगता है कि मैंने इस 2 साल बहुत अच्छी तरह से पढ़ाई नहीं की। ठीक है यार, जो हो गया। शाहरुख खान ने कहा था, हम उनमें से है जो पीछे झांक के नहीं देखते हैं, हम उनमें से है जो पीछे झांक के नहीं देखते हैं। So it's so important for you to actually look now, look here, and look ahead from here, because all of you are on the same boat. बहुत पछताओगे ना, बहुत पछताओगे तो निरूपा रॉय बनोगे, मीना कुमारी बनोगे हिंदी पिक्चर का। पीछे झांक के देखोगे, रिवर्स मिरर में झांक के आप कार ड्राइविंग के समय आप देखोगे तो आगे एक्सीडेंट होगा। So start from here. You're all in the same boat. आपके हाथ में कुछ नहीं था, वायरस ने वाट लगा दिया था, बहुत नुकसान किया, तो आज से जिंदगी फिर से शुरू कीजिए।
Sir, there is a child who is asking, I love writing, different things, but my parents don't encourage.
Dr. Anjali, thank you for being there. Happy to have your typed words on the chat box, Dr. Anjali Davle. I did not pay attention to this question. I'm sorry, Archana.
Sir, a child is asking, I love writing, but my parents don't encourage me. Writing stories, poetry, etc.
हाँ, मैं कविता लिखता हूँ, लोग हंसते थे। मैं प्रोस लिखता था, कभी भी लोग हंसते थे, बोलते थे इंग्लिश चैप्टर का आंसर लिखो पहले। तो एग्जाम के समय कविता मत लिखो यार, एग्जाम के समय प्रोस लिखो, एग्जाम के समय एग्जाम लिखो, और ये होने के बाद कविता लिखो। वो कहेंगे माँ बाप, ये कविता लिख के तू क्या ये बन सकती है? तो ऐसे लोगों को दिखाओ जो कविता को अप्रिशिएट करेगी। जब राज कपूर ने अपनी कविता किसी को दिखाई तो उसने अप्रिशिएट नहीं किया, फिर उसने नरगिस को दिखाया, उसने कहा वाह, और वहां से शुरू हुआ एक अलग किस्सा। आप ऐसे किस्सा में स्टार्ट करो। देखो ऐसा है ना, माँ बाप को बहुत एंग्जाइटी होती है तो पढ़ाई करते नहीं है, ये कविता बोलते क्या लिखते। पर एक बात कहता हूँ, कविता का जो नशा है ना, बंद मत करो। पर एग्जाम के टाइम एग्जाम पे पढ़ाई करो, और कविता बाद में भी लिख सकते हो। एंड डू नॉट स्टॉप योर आर्टिस्टिक inclination to write poems and stories. It might become your career, it might become your antidepressant, it might become your friend when you are stressed and when you are in solitude. So do not stop. But योग्य वेळ करायचं म्हणजे काय, if you have to cook a dinner, you can't cook a snack, you can't cook a breakfast ना, शाम के समय you have to eat a dinner, you can't cook tea, no. So do what is appropriate at that point of time, and you can continue having tea later.
Great. So we have a 7th standard student, Antara, sir. Antara, please unmute yourself, beta, and ask your question. Antara.
Good afternoon, sir and ma'am.
Good afternoon, beta. Please ask your
So
question.
my question is that all the subjects are easy for me, but only science is hard. I cannot study science.
Antara, you are in standard 7th.
Yes, sir.
Division G, roll number 13. Which school is this?
Oxford.
Oh, Oxford. Which? Oxford, Bombay.
No, sir. Oxford in Borivali.
Very, very nice. Your principal said yesterday that she has shared all the links with all the students from all the Oxford schools. Very nice of her. I thank the principal here. बेटा साइंस में फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री बायोलॉजी होता है और सब्जेक्ट्स में अलग अलग होता है. एक बार अपने साइंस टीचर से जाके मिल लेना और कहना कि मुझे ऐसा कुछ करो कि मैं क्यों नहीं समझ सकता हूँ, ये मुझे बताओ, मुझे थोड़ा उसका स्किल सिखाओ. और एक बार आप साइंस टीचर को कहेंगे मुझे नहीं समझ में आता, तो ये मत समझो साइंस टीचर आपको ओपन हार्ट से ओपन हैंड से आपको करेगी वेलकम. नहीं, साइंस टीचर माँ जैसी होती है. मैं जब पढ़ाती हूँ तुम ध्यान नहीं देते हो ऐसे कहेगी, बट स्टिल they are like your mothers. Go to them and she might actually help you to understand the subject. But with all the efforts, if you do not understand the subject, check whether there is difficulty in understanding the science subject through the help of a psychologist. There are 5 reasons for not being able to understand the subject. One is fear of the subject. Number 2 is fear of the teacher who has taught the subject in the 6th standard. Number 3, not being adept at the concepts earlier concept which you require to understand the concepts now. 4th, you could be having dyslexia. 5th is sala kuch pata nahi, but I can't stand the subject. So ultimately you have to analyze these things very rationally. It is like this, my dear students and teachers. Fever or failure, diagnosis is the key. When you have fever, you don't say alsi hai, sala kuch bhi hai. You diagnose by doing different tests, and now you do COVID test. So similarly, when you do not understand the subject, you have to diagnose why rationally through a teacher and through a psychologist. Then you will be able to understand: is it because of the language of science? Is it because of the mathematics of science? Is it because of the definitions of science, etc., etc.? And you will be able to understand. Do not wait till the 10th. You are in the 7th. So first the teacher, next the psychologist, and third is holistic understanding of what the teacher and the psychologist has told you. Thank you, Antara, for the lovely question. I wish all children from Oxford School
excuse me, sir,
really joined here to be fantastic. Yes, Antara?
Sir, but in science I'm getting good marks, but I cannot understand it.
रट्टाबाजी करते हो ना, तो क्या नहीं understand होता है बेटा? Though I don't want
Sir,
to into a
so only long breaths I can learn, but I cannot understand that meanings.
Okay, so if you have attempted to understand the meaning, what part of science has got physics, chemistry, and bio? What part you don't understand?
Sir, chemistry.
Okay, अरे बाबा chemistry की तो माँ की आंख यार, मुझे भी यार उसका वो. But you know what? If your teacher explains to you how the equation is derived, then you understand the equation. But if you have understood only the exact equation through rote, you will not understand the equation. So go back to your teacher and help her explain to you the genesis of the equation and basically the valence and the atoms and the concepts much before you reach a space where you learn chemistry and its equation. So understanding of chemistry would mean understanding the history of the atoms and then going ahead. So if you read and if you also listen to some audio tapes of the part of the subject which you have not understood, that will actually help you. So if you are really only relying on rote, you will get into very great difficulty after the 12th. So go back and try and read things which are not part of your syllabus, but gives you a meaning of those concepts of chemistry, which is then explained much beautifully. So in the vacation after the 7th, go back to your chemistry teacher, sit down with her, and go and learn the basics of how the equations are derived and etc. Okay.
Okay, sir, we have a question. Should we apply 80-20 principle in studies or should study every page of the book? I really don't understand this 80-20 principle, but
Well, I believe that if you understand the concepts of your subjects well, everything is understood. I do not understand the 80-20, which means probably you learn 80% or leave 20%. I do not know, but I would say if you understand the basic concept, it will stand by you across life, across life. So focus on understanding the subject. Don't focus on mugging the subject. Whereas some things, like for example, alluvial soil. I mean, alluvial soil, white soil, rice grow होता है. ऐसा नहीं. Alluvial soil किधर है? वहाँ चावल कितना उगता है? कौन से अलग तरह का चावल उगता है? Then you find that lock किया जाए. It is lock किया जाए, and you remember that across your life. So if you are able to really focus on understanding the subject, and then you will find that you really know well. Those who understand the subjects do very well in the entrance exams. Those who learn the subject by heart do very badly in that exam. That's why people who score 95 and 98 in 10th and 12th don't do well in JEE, because they conceptually, they're fundamentally very weak. Application also becomes very weak when you're conceptually very weak.
great. Sir, so next question is how to be disciplined and regular in studies. We have got 5-6 questions in chat box, sir. So if you're okay, I'll be asking those questions.
There's no issue. See, you know what? Ultimately in life, Warren Buffett said, you don't have to be smarter than others. You have to be more disciplined than others. And that starts by practice. Number one, when you want to become disciplined, it's not a joyous exercise. It's a painful exercise initially. Like, for example, I wanted to stop sugar in my food completely long ago. I just said, no, I will not eat sugar at all. There were a lot of temptations like Vishwamitra's Menka, a lot of temptations, but I stood, and it was painful because my God, my tongue wanted the sugar in the tea. My brain wanted the sugar in the tea. My God, it was so difficult. Supriya is smiling. She's smiling. It was so difficult. But नहीं यानी नहीं, मेरे पास आज फेरो रोशो का 2 डब्बा पड़ा है, हाथ नहीं लगाने तो मैं और बेटा वो रात भर खा के खलास करते थे. So my dear children, it's easy to do it as a child. Let me tell you, because children are very pure, they're very simple, and their thought process is very profound. And if you really start doing that I will study and finish my book. And when you are very disciplined, it's painful. मैं ये article रात तक complete करूँगा, नींद आई तो भी मैं जग के complete करूँगा. Then you wire yourself कि जब I become tenacious, I become perseverant, I become very persistent, and I become very patient. Start that early. Every successful person is very, I've been fortunate to meet many of them, including the Prime Minister of the country. Very persistent, very perseverant. Then it becomes a habit, and then it becomes part of your joy. Initially there's pain. Initially there's resistance. Initially there's temptation, and then it becomes joy. And then it becomes also new programs in your chromosomes. And it becomes new programs in your chromosomes. You pass it to your progeny later. And that, I think you have to start very early, very early. It's not joyous to be disciplined. It's painful initially to be very disciplined, and it becomes joyous later. But remember, disciplining would not mean being obsessively perfect. There's a difference. नहीं मैं कैसा भी करके ये होमवर्क आज ही करेगा नहीं, 30 दिन का टाइम है ना आज क्यों. No, don't have to be obsessively perfect, but you need to be very tenaciously complete, and that's the great difference. So start from pain and enjoy. I still remember when I traveled with the Prime Minister once in his car long ago, before he was the Prime Minister, long ago. He had this small list of things. And he was asking his secretary, "Ye hua kya? Ye hua kya? Ye hua kya? Ye hua kya?" And that really hit me very hard. And across time, I'll tell you what I'm doing for my own discipline. I picked up 5 things. One is no sugar. Second is to be very punctual. Third is to be good handwriting. All doctors will laugh. Good handwriting. Fourth is to drop my Oxford, English, Hindi, and Marathi. People will understand the bhavartha, what I'm talking. And the fifth will be to sleep early and wake up early and do exercise. Of the five, I'm able to stop my sugar. Punctuality, I'm still attempting. Handwriting has improved big time. And Oxford, English, Hindi, and Marathi has gone down completely, almost completely. And the fifth is sleeping early and waking up early and exercise. 80% I'm there, 80% there. So is this easy? No, painful. So I think Warren Buffett said, you don't have to be smarter than the rest. You have to be more disciplined than the rest. And that's the secret of success.
Great. So well said, sir. I think if children start following any of these things, it's never late. They can always start following this and they will be able to achieve success. There is no doubt every child is smart. Every child is unique. There is no single size which fits all. All of you are unique and uniquely different. It's only that our exam system is mark based. Our exam system is very, very fixed. So to clear the exams, you will have to go in a particular format. Once the exams are over, it's you and your life. So, nobody will be stopping you from pursuing certain things which may just become your hobbies and certain things which may become your careers. So the life is there waiting for you with open arms, all happy. This is just a small exam time. Do not allow it to stress you out so much that it is going to become the part of your life. So just take it easy. Breathe in and breathe out and say, I can do it, and you will be able to do it. So there are two questions which are more or less similar. I'm going to take them together. One child is asking me that I'm not able to ask this question. I can study the full chapter, but when questions are asked for specific details, I feel blank. I can do overall, but detailing questions are a problem for me. And the second question is, how do I increase confidence while presenting in front of the class? I become very, very anxious.
Two things. Number one is that remember there's a difference between reading and learning. Okay. Mota mota mere ko yaad hai. No, they say in Marwadi, mota mota batao kya hai? Gross. So I will stray a little. I would say that when kids are very tense, I tell them, don't learn, just read. Keep on reading, and then slowly you'll find that your anxiety goes down. You slowly start learning. Number one. Number two is, it is extremely important to understand the gross, to understand the forest, but it's very important to learn the trees. Which means what? Which means pick up the small questions, answer them, and 20% of your study should be writing, because it's not because you've lost your writing, because it is good to write. And when you answer the small questions, the mota things also become meaningful. And you'll find that if you learn the gross, you miss the details, but when you learn the details, your gross becomes more complete. So do that. Sometimes there's anxiety. कि ये छोटा मेरे को नहीं याद रहता, मैं छोड़ दूंगा उसको, नहीं चलेगा. मोटा पढ़ने के बाद छोटा answer you'll have to learn and study, because somebody said before, God lives in the details. So you become very sharp, you become very smart. And ultimately, my dear friends, all those who do yoga, awareness improves, memory improves, anxiety goes down, and you are there. And that is so important. Anmita is asking how to learn functions and powers in civics easily. Because here mnemonics don't work. Word to word answers required. Governor ka photo सामने लाओ, उसका क्या functions ऐसा देखो, governor का थोपड़ा देखो, functions याद रहते. You need to convert everything into story form. I can teach 10th standard physics in story form, including Ohm's law, Newton's law, Pascal's law, Archimedes' principle. I can teach you in a story form, and I have done it. I tell all psychologists and psychiatrists, unless they take classes in schools of subjects, they do not understand mental health of children. Because unless you know the context, you can't define the concepts of mental health. So Anmita, and when I say this, think about the Prime Minister and look at the functions. Think about the cabinet and look at the functions. Think about elections. Who can vote for elections? No, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. Think about the elections happening. Punjab ka election, UP ka elections aage hoga. And think about elections, think about candidates, think about the story, and then you look at civics and become very, very meaningful. Other civics is very dry. And I did this when I taught my two sons in my ICS. History, you have to look at stories. Geography, it's all about maps, chaps and maps. Geography is all about chaps and maps. I still remember Mrs. Vaz, one of the greatest geography teachers on this earth, from Jamnabai School, the principal. She would say, I would take the entire globe into the class and I would teach. I know of other geography teachers who take regions and they would teach. And so, my dear friends, all teachers who convert concepts into stories are great teachers, because when the concepts are clear, vocabulary is simple. And that, I think, is the most important thing for us to learn. Thank you, Anmita. At least everybody is equal, but some are a little more equal than others. Anmita Shetty, have a great Sunday.
Yes, I now invite Dr. Supriya Arwari to please unmute herself and ask the question. Supriya?
Please go wandering around.
Hi. Hi, sir. Hi, Archana.
Hi, dear. Hi, dear. So good to have
Thank
you.
you for taking such a fantastic topic, because we all know adolescent, the depression and especially suicides have gone up, and because most of them are related to academic work. So, sir, my question to you is that my daughter Vaidehi is now appearing for her MD psychiatry. So, any tips for the students of psychiatry, how to go about their studies and how to make a great psychiatrist like you?
No, they're all growing. They're all growing. I would tell all students to understand their exams. There are many exams worth living for and no exams worth crying for. Sometimes Rahu Ketu, bad days, Cheteshwar Pujara and Rane have been dropped from the team, but they'll come back, bad times. So there are many exams worth living for, no exams worth crying for or dying for. For your daughter, let her understand that whatever she has learned in the last 3 years, she'll be able to reproduce based on the reflections of the entire 3 years. Also, see that she takes some relaxation after her long case and for a short case, and ask her, and also see to it that she answers very honestly symptoms as well as life, and that would be so easy. And if she practices long case and short case in front of her teachers and so many workshops that happens, everything will be all right. And I'm sure that to be a psychiatrist, it's not only important to understand symptoms and illness, but it's also important to understand life. To be a psychiatrist of repute, it's not only important to understand illnesses inside the clinic, but to move around the world. Psychiatrists to meet more people than patients do extremely well than psychiatrists who see only patients. So life and illness, both exposure, will make her a great psychiatrist. Exams is just part of life, so don't bother about it.
Yes, Supriya, and all the best wishes to your daughter for her all future endeavors.
She's watching you, so I'm
Yes, so all the best to all. Yes, all the best to her. Okay, sir, there's a question that since few days, this is the exam time and I'm suffering from migraine, which was never there before. So, and because of this, I can't study. Can you please guide? So is this really migraine headache?
Migraine can be actually due to different reasons in different people. But I would like you to meet your family doctor. Massage on the head also works. Avoiding triggers of migraine also works. And treating your migraine with your doctor also helps. But sleeping on time also helps migraine. Sleeping on time, relaxation, shavasana also helps migraine. And a head shower also helps anxiety headaches and tension headaches. So what is very important is sharing your fears also brings down anxiety. If the trigger for migraine is anxiety, my dear student, understand that headache happens because you have a head. And if you have a head, you should use it. That's what my school teacher, Mr. Chaudhary, late Mr. Chaudhary, shared with us in my 8th standard. And that I think is beautiful. But remember, see your family doctor.
Yes. I invite Dr. Jyoti Chidgupkar to ask a question. Dr. Jyoti?
Thank you, Dr. Harish Shetty, sir. Actually, I wanted to share something. One of my friends, she used to get abdominal pain the day before examination, and she used to cry, and I don't know, I understand this is acute stress. So for today's attendees, I would like to definitely know to how to get rid of such acute stresses during examinations?
I would say there are 3 or 4 things. It's pain. They get headache. They get stomach ache. Some people get fever, and some people get even backache. Now, I would say that planning for exams should start much early. And if you have not, I would not speak about this kid, ma'am. I would talk to generally. People have not slept for a very long time. They break down at the time of exams. So first is see that your sleep, your appetite, the rhythm of your sleep, your appetite, and your regular approach towards your studies are intact. Number 1. As the exams come closer, the stress is very high. Parents should focus on alleviation of the stress rather than asking them किती marks मिळणार. अरे मी आहे ना रे, घाबरू नको हे, करत जा, आम्ही आहोत, we are there, do as best as you can and sleep. And allow me to give you a massage. I used to give head massage to my sons around the time of exams, even before. And so the touch between the parents and the children is one of the most powerful ways of elevating stress. It's not only stress, it's not the biochemistry and the chemistry of the body, but also the touch which says, I accept you exactly as you are, my dear son or my dear daughter. You were born without the mark sheet in the hand. You did not say, I really behaved well for the 9 months in your womb. And then slowly, if they have these episodes of stomachache and headache, sometimes practice tests, mock tests in the examination hall. For example, now all the exams are in the schools and the college of origin. Sometimes going there and sitting down on the bench and doing some small practice tests, without knowing the marks. That also brings down the pain and anxiety of the anticipated future test. Sometimes spasm of the stomach muscles and the head can also cause the same thing. And at that point of time, what is so very important at that point of time is that Shavasana, talking to your favorite teacher enhances the mood much more than talking to your favorite relative and your parent. Reassurance by a teacher is so powerful. And with all this, you find that things go down, and sometimes treatment by your medical doctor also. But anxiety management is necessary for those who are anxiety prone. Some children are more prone for anxiety than the others. So anxiety management across time helps you to stop all the complications just before exam. But if they have, sometimes your doctor might be forced to give you very small dose of medicines for anxiety. Nothing wrong in that. सवय होणार का, इसकी आदत लगेगी क्या? अरे यार, घोड़े से पहले काट को don't bring the cart before the horse. So doing all this really helps. Thank you, ma'am, for that beautiful question, Jyoti.
Sir, since we have lots of students over here, just in a very short, if you can explain what is anxiety and depression, so that any of the child is facing these issues, they need to talk to their parents about it. Sir, can you just?
Of course. Number 1 is when you start getting thoughts which are devastating. मैं फेल हो जाऊंगा, मेरे को याद नहीं रहेगा, मेरा दिमाग में कुछ नहीं है, मेरे को मार्क्स कम मिल गए तो माँ बाप बड़ा गुस्सा करेंगे, माँ बाप अपसेट हो जाएंगे, वो इतना मेहनत करते हैं, इतना कुछ करते हैं कि वो क्या होगा मेरा. Then मेरे दिल धड़कता है, धड़. प्यार में भी इतना नहीं धड़कता, पर अभी ज्यादा धड़कता है. In love also, I never felt this palpitation, but it really beats. I feel thirsty. I feel breathless. I feel dizzy. I feel like trembling inside the body. I feel tremors. I feel something's going to happen to me, panic attacks. And dil dhadakna jor se, घबराहट होना. My dear parents, don't wish it away. Don't say, "Kahin hai ja, kuch nahi jao." ऐसे मत बोलना यार. Remember, my dear parents, every child is important. All children are equal. Every child is different. All children can learn. No child is born a criminal, and transformation is possible in every child. उस समय जब तकलीफ में है तो उसको गले लगाओ यार. Hug them a little longer and a little stronger. And if you do not know how to heal them, see that you take the help of your family doctor immediately, or your gynecologist, or your pediatrician, or your psychiatrist immediately, so that you bring down the anxiety. Sometimes sharing of the fears brings down anxiety. Sometimes acceptance of parents really brings down anxiety. Sometimes when they talk to their friends, it actually brings down anxiety. Sometimes the reassurance of a great teacher actually brings down anxiety. Sometimes when you say, "Tu ais na, I am there for you, whatever happens. whatever happens, you are important. Your mark sheet is not. You are more important than your mark sheet, and that assurance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that is anxiety. Now, sometimes anxiety also can be worry. आगे क्या होएगा? मेरे को अच्छा मार्क्स नहीं मिला तो मैं MBA नहीं कर सकता हूँ. MBA नहीं किया तो मेरे को जॉब नहीं मिलेगा. जॉब नहीं मिला तो मेरे को शादी नहीं होएगा. शादी नहीं होगा. Excessive worry, catastrophic worry, that requires some amount of counseling later so that the children are able to focus on today. And sometimes worrying kids imitate that from the parents. There are parents घरी पण केव्हा लोक अशी म्हणतात. क्योंकि sometimes in that family they say अभी क्या होएगा अपना, अभी क्या होएगा, अभी क्या, अरे यार कोविड के बाद आगे का नहीं सोचने का, हफ्ते का भर ही सोचने का, आज का हफ्ते का भर, अगले हफ्ते तक, और बहुत ज्यादा आगे नहीं सोचने का. So when parents also have excessive worry, it really infects the parents because anxiety travels faster than the influenza virus, and that's important. Now, what is depression? मुझे कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगता है. मुझे लगता है कि खटिए पे सोते रहूं और मुझे बहुत गुस्सा. आई एम वेरी इरिटेबल, आई एम एक्सट्रीमली इरिटेबल एंड आई एम एक्सट्रीमली डाउन एंड आई फील वेरी वेरी एंग्री. I feel I'm a burden on my parents. I feel worthless. I feel useless. I feel यार एग्जाम बंद हो जाए. I feel यार भगवान मुझे उठा ले जाए. इसमें से कोई भी एक सिम्टम रहा तो डॉक्टर के पास जाओ. मुझे नींद बहुत आती है, नींद कम आती है. मुझे भूख बहुत लगती है, भूख कम लगती है. मेरा concentration कम हो गया. I could read 10 pages in half an hour. Now I can't read 1 page in half an hour. Immediately rush to the friendly neighborhood psychologist, the psychiatrist. Sometimes depression is very common. Age of onset of depression has gone down and that should be treated at time.
Absolutely, sir. This is very, very important. Dear parents, please understand anxiety and depression in children are very common and they need to be identified, and the children need help. At times, they really do need help because they are not able to sort it out by themselves because they are themselves so confused about all this. So please do take it seriously and help your children because these can prove to be catastrophic when, studies are concerned. So it's not studies is good, studies is important, but it's not everything. So please pay attention to their mental health and take them to a psychologist or a psychiatrist as and when the need be. And with this, we move forward. Thank you so much, sir, for explaining what is anxiety and what is depression. Changing school in 11th standard is good or no, sir? I mean, somebody's asking.
Depends upon why. Objective kya? If you have transferred your job and if you have gone to a new city, you can change. You find that opportunities and extracurricular, if you are a great hockey player and hockey is given a lot of importance at school, it would be nice. If you have definite reasons for changing to it, and it should be rational and it should be very, very objective. Do not uproot your kid from the school of his origin, and then that can be very disastrous. If your child has had very great trouble of being bullied in the school, abused, and the child is not happy with the teachers, and there has been a traumatic event, then I think changing a school is always advisable. But if you want to change from SSC, ICSE board to IB and IGCSE 11th and 12th, see that you ask the children, see that his aptitude is good for IGCSE and IB, and then only you can change. So you'll have to take a very informed, mindful decision of changing the school. There is one Mr. Kubra who's put his hand up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm inviting Kubra. Mr. Kubra, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm finding geometry subject very hard, and boards is near, and it needs very practice, and I'm not prepared yet.
Kubra, मैं एक बार आपका नाम क्या है बेटा?
My name is Abiha.
Abhiya, बेटा अभिया ऐसा है कि if you have problems in understand space, like for example, I can't understand space. I cannot find an address very easily, even if I've gone there once or twice. My spatial understanding is very bad. And if it is an issue for a very long time, then you probably have issues with understand spatial construct, because geometry is a spatial construct. Then you can do as much as you can, and as you grow up, you can quit that part of science, etc., etc. But if you find that you have not done your work in geometry across time, and you find it difficult because you need to do it as much as you can just before the exam, and it's nothing to be about spatial skills, do as much as you can. And honestly, meeting your geometry teacher now is very important. Even speaking to him, वो कहेगा ये पढ़ो, ये छोड़ दो. And that will help you to solve the issue now. After you finish your exams, if you are continuing geometry in the future, in the 11th or the 12th, or in other subjects, please meet your teacher, and probably please meet a psychologist to find out if you have issues with spatial constructs. And that will really help you. I am very bad at space. I graduated from Nair Hospital, my MBBS. And when I travel by road, there is a Sat Rasta, the 7 roads which start from at a point. I'm supposed to take the lane to Nair on one road, and I still make a mistake. And so my spatial, I cannot remember an address very easily, even if I've gone twice. So my spatial construct is not very good, and I leave it at that. But I was very good in geometry. It was good enough for geometry. So really, you make use of your teacher now as much as you can study, and after that, you can actually look at your abilities by meeting a psychologist and then choosing a subject in the future which is appropriate and aligned to your abilities.
Yes, so I think, Kubra, that your question is answered. I invite Dr. Anjali Daule. She wants to make some comment. Dr. Anjali, you want to make a comment? Please unmute yourself.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Harish Shetty sir and Dr. Archana Pate. It's
Namaskar.
been a wonderful morning, sir. And as you have said that every human being is a student till end. And I am learning and learning, sir. Although it is for the teenagers, but it's a good learning experience for the parents.
I learn in every talk of mine. When I give a talk, I learn, and I go back and reflect what points I've missed, what points I should have added, and what points I've learned from students and every participant, including Arjuna Pate.
Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you so much, Dr. Anjali. Sir, there are 3-4 questions. If it's okay, I'll take it up in the chat box.
Yeah. I have a lot of time.
Yeah. So how to stop getting distracted while studying?
हमने आंसर किया था. Depends upon the type of distraction. उसका बर्थडे आ रहा है यार, मेरे को विश करने के पर एग्जाम मेरे बाप को अलाउ नहीं करेगा जाने को, क्या करे? And that is one form. Number 2 is that, my God, I was playing this game on the net and I need to play that. I feel very attracted to play. Third is, I need to do something which I need to watch that porn. My God, I didn't watch porn for a long time. Number 4, I need to eat my favorite food, pizza. Mummy has taught myself so many distractions. The nail in the coffin of distraction is awareness. So said my teacher who taught me NLP. And what is important is awareness means आता माझा काम आहे अर्चना पातेच्या क्वेश्चन्सचा उत्तर द्यायचं. घरी कोणी नातेवाईक आले, चिकन तंदुरीचा सुगंध येतो, मला त्याचे लक्ष द्यायचं नाही. And you might say it's easy for you, Dr. Shetty. You are an adult, you have been trained, etc., etc. But you know, we are only 15 and 16. हमारा क्या? अरे वो प्यार क्या है जिससे पढ़ाई का त्याग करना पड़े यार? My dear friends, allow the thought to come and go. Sometimes it helps. Thought आया, thought गया. Sometimes say stop and focus on your study. Sometimes give yourself 15 minutes, half an hour to talk to your friend, girlfriend, boyfriend. Satisfy yourself. Give yourself 15 minutes, half an hour to play some games. If you can stop your games, Give yourself 15 minutes, half an hour to probably eat something which is healthy. Give yourself 15 minutes, half an hour to talk to your parents about all your reflections. But pick up the most attractive subject when you have a very powerful distraction and start reading it, start answering it, and then you'll find the distraction goes away. Sometimes distracting from the distractions also helps you to really the whole distance. Like for example, I think of my boyfriend now. What do? I get up, I walk up and down, I go to the bathroom, I talk to my mother, I forget. So distracting from distractions is also a very good technique. And lastly, if it's a preoccupation and not a distraction, remember there's a difference between distraction and preoccupation. And if it's a preoccupation, then phone, the friendly neighborhood teacher क्या करूं, मुझे उसकी बहुत याद आती है, उसने स्कूल चेंज किया, अभी मुझे मेरी फोन भी नहीं उठाती, ब्लॉक कर दिया. The teacher will be able to help you, your mother will be able to help you, your father will be able to help you, and कोई नहीं है. If it's a preoccupation and not a distraction, then you need to really talk to a mental health professional who's available online.
So the last question which I see over here, I always write correct answers in main exams, but I didn't get good marks in class test, and also I have stage fear, and because of this I can't answer any question asked by teacher in the whole class.
Well, in this exams, you'll have to write your exams. Stage fear, the best way to banish stage fear is to start talking in front of a mirror. Lecture do 5 minutes ka, in front of a mirror. Then in front of your mother and your father and the mirror. Then in front of your chosen friends, then the mirror. Then go and take a chance. Remember, Albert Ellis said, he gave us a shame attacking exercise. And he went to a park and called and invited many women for coffee, and an elderly 65-year-old woman accepted his invitation for coffee. And you know what it is? Shame. Main yeda banega to, sab log hasega to. Shame, I forget my lines. Fear and shame that I forget my lines. People will criticize me. I'll appear stupid in front of everybody. So after doing all the exercise, then get a little bigger audience. Take a deep breath, prepare your talk, and go and look. And when you really talk, no, I was never a great speaker ever in my life. अपने को शर्म नहीं था कभी जिंदगी में बॉस, कोई हंसता है फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता था, कोई फर्क नहीं, अभी भी नहीं फर्क पड़ता है. So once you give an audience, then you'll find that some people are doing like this, and just look at them doing like that. That encourages you to talk. There are some people who shake chairs and change plastic, unko nahi dekhne ka. And then slowly anxiety goes down. Performance anxiety goes down when the emotions associated with that anxiety, which stop you from actually performing, are dealt with in vivo, in vitro, before the talk and on the talk. And then you'll find there is nobody who cannot give a great talk. It's your attitude of telling yourself कि मैं बोलते रहेगा, मैं सीखते जाऊंगा और नया चीज करते रहूंगा. जो हंसेंगे वो मेरे best friends है, because that motivates me to do something new. And once you are in a talk, I never prepare much. I just prepare a framework. Sometimes lines come automatically and spontaneously because I'm in a trance state in a talk, and that trance state anybody can achieve. No problems at all. Martin Luther King, here his speeches, fantastic. I have a dream. And when you are in it, in a trance state, then we find all anxieties vanish.
Absolutely. So very well said, sir. I mean, it's you and your mind block. Just get rid of that mind block, know your subject, and you're just work a little bit on it and say, I can do it, and you will be able to do it. It's only your mind which plays games most of the times. So do it and you will be able to do it. And sir, I really cannot thank you enough for sparing so much time and answering questions so leisurely on this wonderful Sunday morning. And I'm sure all you students who are facing exams in the coming weeks, you all are going to be brilliantly doing it well. And even if for some reason you are not able to score what you thought you would score, it's okay. Life does not end at that. Some will score more, some will score less. There is always something new waiting for you. So please, my dear students, let the stress be gone and do the best. Keep reading without feeling scared, without having that fear in your mind. Keep reading, keep preparing for your exams, and I'm sure you will be doing your very, very, very best for the exams. And thank you so much, sir. You have been really, really, really wonderful. We have Dr. Arun Paude, sir, over here, who is the past president of IMA Maharashtra State, sir. I invite you to please say a few words, sir. Paude, sir.
Excellent, madam. A very good session, and not only students, we are also very much got the tips from the sir. You are arranged for the student, but madam also, few speakers also tell that is a very nice, and it has given us some knowledge to us, like senior person like me. So thank you very much, Dr. Shetty. And all, and Madam Archana Patil was a very good, excellent program. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. And before I present the certificate of appreciation to our speaker, Dr. Harish Shetty, I have got announcement that on 13th of March, we have got a session on teaching relaxation techniques and meditation to students, because this is the time, a stressful period, as Dr. Shetty taught us how to study well, getting rid of the stress, how to identify what is anxiety, what is depression, and how to study well. There are certain things in if you practice, like some relaxation techniques and some meditation, probably it will give you a better peace of mind. Then on 27th of March, we have students and screen time. A lot of questions we got how to get rid of the screen time, the gadget. So the next session would be on that. And on 17th March, the date may prepone or postpone by 1 week. We have a career guidance webinar. So please do join us for these sessions. And with this, we come towards the end of the session. And I'm really, really happy to present this certificate of gratitude to Dr. Harish Shetty sir for giving your expert guidance to students on stress management during this community guidance webinar From Stress to Success, organized by MPH IMA Maharashtra State on Sunday 20th February 22 under Teen Talk series. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
I would like to thank Archana Pate for her involvement in mental health and really curating these teen sessions are very useful. The impact will be very high. And I pray that I may continue this and multiply these activities across time. I would like to thank Suhas, my very old friend, Jyoti, Dr. Mangesh, Dr. Archana, and Dr. Jayesh Lele, who has been here, our mentor from IMA Jew, and again, a very, very old friend. And all the IMA members who are involved in this activity, I can put on record that your involvement in mental health is much more than the involvement of my Psychiatric Association of Maharashtra. People might get upset, but I've been always known to speak my mind, and congratulations. And my dear students, all the best. Stay alive. Stay alive. Very important. Badi zindagi hai. And India is on the threshold of a great tomorrow, and you are the architects. Thank you. Take care.
Sir, can you please give some details of your reception or your clinic details if anybody wants to get in touch with you?
I never do that. I have never done that from the day of my practice.
Sir, can I share your mail ID if anybody contacts me for this?
Definitely. I am one of those who have never been distributing cards in any talk, nor have been giving.
Yes, we are aware of that, sir. But
I would request each one of you to meet the psychologists and the psychiatrists from their district. Each one of them is very good, but we still insist that you need to really connect with me. Archana Pate and IMA has all my details. They will give you my email ID, and I'll try my best to do what I can.
Absolutely.
The friendly neighborhood psychiatrists and the psychologists are the ones you need to contact. Thank you.
And we can help you get in touch with a psychiatrist in your area in case you really have a problem. Do get in touch. In case you would like to get in touch with Dr. Harish Shetty sir, contact us. We'll share his mail ID with you. So thank you so much for giving so much time on this wonderful Sunday morning. All the best to all the students, and you all will really, really, really do very, very well in your exams. And with this, Dr. Jyoti, would you like to give a closing remark?
We spent 128 minutes.
Yes, absolutely.
At the outset, I would like to thank from my bottom of heart to Dr. Harish sir. He has given so much of time for us, for IMA, for all the students and attendees. Really, each sentence from him was what we say is margadarshak for all the students, and it will help them for facing the examination very successfully, day-to-day studies very successfully. Thank you very much, sir. काश आप डॉक्टर हरीश शेट्टी हमारे टाइम भी होते, बहुत अच्छा होता।
मैं तो ऐसे कहता हूँ, हमारे टाइम पे, मेरे टाइम पे भी कोई अच्छा साइकोलॉजिस्ट साइकियाट्रिस्ट होता तो भी बहुत। Spent 158 minutes, 2.5 hours and 7 minutes.
Yes, absolutely.
It was very enjoyable. I thank you for inviting me, Archana. And always with you, always with IMA.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We always count on your support. So thank you so much, sir. And thank you, Dr. Jyoti, Dr. Archana. Thank you, IMA Maharashtra State President, Dr. Pingade, sir, Dr. Mangesh Pate, sir, Honorary Secretary, for all your support and encouragement. And of course, Dr. Jayesh Lele, Dr. Paude, Dr. Kute for their presence. And of course, the wonderful parents, teachers, and students. Parents, teachers, please support your students. And students, you are not alone. There are lots of people available to help you, to guide you, to support you. We are there to help you and support you. So please study well and forget about everything else. It is exam time and exams matter as of now. So do prepare and do not worry about the future. It is only present. So worry about what is in present. Forget how you are going to get marks or what is going to be your result. Prepare and give your exam. That is the best that you have to do at this point in time. And so we wish you all the best from all of us over here at Mission Pink Health, IIM Maharashtra State. Thank you so much, Shetty sir, for your presence. And with this, we end today's session. So see you all for the next program that we have, that is on 13th of March, teaching relaxation techniques and meditation to the students. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Archana. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.